Hi, everybody, and welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, Episode 11. I am your host, and with me, as always, is my teenage son, Jackson. Say hello.
Hi, I have a booster juice.
Yeah, we picked up some booster juice today on our weekly What You Drinking.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Orangesicle. It's like kind of orange creamsicle flavor.
And I'm usually a strawberry storm, but today I tried some sort of coffee contraption.
Because you can't go without it.
That is pretty good. I do like coffee quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your week at school?
Class changed bad.
Oh, right. So we're in the midst of Corona time, obviously, and Ontario's schooling situation is kind of interesting. There's a whole bunch of students switching from in-class to online, and teachers are getting pulled back and forth all over the place. So classes are collapsing, students are moving. So you've stayed in your class, but some of your friends got pulled or something, or you got grade 7s added?
Yeah, both. Yeah. Yes.
So interesting stuff. And one thing I've noticed listening back to this podcast every week is you love when I talk about school. When I bring up your school, you immediately change the subject every week, I've noticed. But anyways, that's pretty normal. So anything else you wanted to chat before we get into news and rumors and stuff? Anything in life?
Clash of Champions bad.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a spot to talk about that briefly.
I literally enjoyed one match from it, let's just say.
Maybe I liked it a bit more than you, but
no,
one thing we forgot to mention last week was the Dynamite that was on the night before Dynamite, the hour-long one.
Late night Dynamite, yeah.
So the only thing I really wanted to draw attention to there was that Ben Carter was
COVID.
He was fantastic. Yes, he does, but he had a match with Scorpio Sky, and I feel bad I forgot because I wanted to tell people to go out of their way to watch that match because this kid looks amazing. He's only 22, super polished, really impressive, super highly competitive match with Scorpio Sky. He looked amazing. I think he's a future star that they should probably, if they haven't signed him already, they probably should. I don't know where he came from. I've never heard of him, but the guy was impressive. Mm-hmm. And I just forgot to mention that last week.
And then there's you said Sean Spears and Matt Sydal was decent.
Yeah, that was a pretty good match as well. None of it was bad, but it felt like something in between Dark and Dynamite.
They were just renaming Dark.
Yeah.
It looks to be.
Yeah, they definitely don't have a match like generally that Sky and Carter match. You won't see that on Dark, I don't think.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like maybe a little more mainstream Dark.
Yeah, it was good. That match was, if you didn't see it, you can try and find it. I'm sure it's available. It was impressive. I like to just see new talent, especially if I've never heard anything about them, because that's pretty rare. He looked awesome. All right, you ready for news and rumors?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll transition into that. I always start out with our ratings in news and rumors. So this past week, AEW averaged 896 viewers, which is up 4% from last week, while NXT averaged 732,000, up 5%. So AEW, the higher average, NXT improved a little bit more. So in the key demographic, we always have to mention, AEW was 0.33 in that demo, so up 3% from the previous week. And NXT was at a 0.19, so up 5.5%. So again, NXT had a larger increase, but still did not catch AEW.
Not, yeah.
And those numbers are pretty impressive because they went against some pretty stiff competition in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Boo, Lakers won that, unfortunately. And I think playoff baseball was starting as well. So those numbers, considering what they were up against, is pretty good.
Yeah.
They must be happy.
Good to hear, yeah.
Anything else for you? I got a couple more, or one more.
Something for you, I guess, is Impact Wrestling got a new UK TV deal with Premier Sports. Doesn't affect us, but...
I haven't heard that.
Something interesting.
And I know the UK has a strong history of loving Impact Wrestling because they were very more successful over there at times than they were in North America in their past.
Right, and they had, like, the British invasion. And,
yep. And they just, it does really well over there for whatever reason, whether they're just starved for some sort of different wrestling. It generally performs well in the UK, so that's good for them.
All they've really got for, like, their wrestling is NXT UK. And
they have cool indie promotions and stuff, though, I think.
Is that really going to be happening right now?
Probably not. Good point.
Yeah. An interesting one, perhaps more interesting than this. Hell in a Cell's 2020 main event has been leaked. Any guesses?
I thought I was going to say Reigns and Wyatt.
Mm-mm.
No?
I guess again.
Is McIntyre involved?
No.
Rock and Reigns?
Mm-mm. You ready?
Yeah.
Bayley versus Sasha in Hell in a Cell for the women's title.
I did hear that. I didn't know it was main event, but I did hear it was happening. So that should be awesome.
Good for them, and absolutely. I think it's earned.
That'll be an awesome match.
I think this will be one of the rare times where at Hell in a Cell the stipulation is probably warranted.
I would agree, right? Because sometimes they
They
were
rush
just
it.
pulling it out there, like, oh, you guys looked at each other the wrong way. Get the Hell in a Cell out. But yeah, this has been a long, really good feud. They're the Corona MVPs, probably. You know what I mean? They've been
Not
awesome.
MVP, but them.
So, right. So that'll be. I'm looking forward to that match. I knew it was happening. I didn't realize it was the main event, but that makes sense.
And I think the last time I remember there was a women's main event, not other than WrestleMania. One time I remember it was Hell in a Cell 2016, which was Charlotte and Sasha.
Right.
So kind of harking back to that. And I think we still have the red Hell in a Cell, which continues to look terrible and burns my eyes.
I believe it is the red cell still. You're right.
Who thought that was a good idea? I'd love to know.
I don't like it either. I found it distracting last year. Was last year the first year, the debut?
Yes. Yeah. No, 2018 was.
Oh, was it?
And it's just like, if there's supposed to be this barbaric cell, why do you make it bright and red? It's like that one TNA match.
Well, it's already at times frustrating to watch them film through the cage and stuff, so I don't need it to be even more noticeable.
I don't need it to be this eye-searing color.
Right, a vibrant red. But
yeah,
anyways.
It's not even like it's like a dark red that might
it's
look
bright.
cool.
And
it's
I'm colorblind, and it bugs me.
It's like, yeah, it's in your face.
But what do we know?
Another one interesting for you maybe is the New Japan Pro Wrestling president resigns.
I didn't know that either.
I forget what his name is. I was looking at the
I'm
article.
not even sure who it is. I did just watch last night. I randomly picked a G1 night to watch. I watched some Night 5.
Nice.
So I got Ishii and Ibushi in a sweet match.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was it? Osprey. Oh my goodness, I forget already. Osprey and somebody. Shingo Takagi, I think it was. I don't think you know him.
Takagi.
He's relatively
I've heard of him.
He's good. They had a good match.
Another one is Sami Zayn calls his 3-way ladder match at Clash of Champions versus Styles and Jeff Hardy. His favorite match of his in 3 or 4 years.
Well, we'll get to that. I don't blame him for saying that at the risk of spoiling our opinions on that.
Good match with a good finish.
Yep. I've got my news nugget I wanted to get to this week.
Oh, yeah.
RVD is gone from Impact Wrestling. So I am so upset. Apparently he's been working without a contract for a while. His storyline ended, and so he's just done with Impact for now, for whatever.
I actually did read it. It said the door's open for a return.
Great. So I obviously, not to celebrate, I hope he goes and does well somewhere else where I don't have to watch him, because I don't need to see the way they're presented. It doesn't appeal to me at all, so I don't wish him any harm, but he can go be successful somewhere where I don't have to see him.
You got the Tegan Knox.
Go ahead. I didn't write it down.
NXT's Tegan Knox undergoes a third major ACL surgery in 4 years. Third injury. This one didn't even happen in a match. It just happened I think she was doing some rehabbing and just popped. I think her last injury might not have healed properly, I think is what it was. So. Which
explains why they had to do the Candice LeRae taking
her out.
That's
the kayfabe answer there.
So Jack and I were talking about this a few times on our own. We feel really, really badly for her as someone who's had a pretty devastating leg injury at one point in my life and rehabbed from it, not to just to rehab to live a normal life, not to rehab to perform something athletically at the high level. I can't imagine having to do it 3 times. So I don't know if this means she's done, but I hope she...
And just the fact that it just came from it popping. Maybe it's not as bad as we think. Still not good, but...
No, and I mean just the mental, like you battle back to rehab to do what you love, and that you have to do it a 3rd time. I don't know. I hope she can, but it would be a big ask, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
Did you have anything else in news? I just wanted to quickly recap our Clash of Champions here, if that works for you. So, I mean, I've listened to a whole bunch of...
The funny thing is, though, it's neither news or rumors.
No, but it's in between news and rumors, and it's a bonus segment here for everybody.
Clash of Champions thing.
I've listened to a lot of people now talk about it, and I don't think I have any new opinions. It seems to be pretty much the consensus. The ladder match was amazing to open. Like, that was one of the better matches I've seen in WWE in quite a while. You also loved it. It just had... Those guys worked so hard, and as somebody...
It was a good match as it was, and then the finish was just so creative and
Well,
was amazing.
and for me, as somebody who's like similar in age to Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles, right? Like the stuff they were doing to themselves, I can't imagine. Yeah, there was.
Sami Zayn handcuffed the ladder to Jeff Hardy's earlobe.
It was violent. There was creative spots
There
like
was
that.
like the one time where Jeff Hardy was climbing a ladder, right? And so Sami Zayn's on the other side, and he like turns it that way.
Yep.
Or yeah, and then like so Jeff Hardy's like climbing, and then so he gets on there, and then the ladder like falls on the turnbuckles, and then like falls out the ring, and like his arms kind of trapped in the ladder, and it looks, there's some spots that just like didn't look like right, but they look nasty.
Yeah, they didn't look
that.
like they quite executed it right, but it
No, but it
almost
looked
made it look better because
right.
it looked more painful.
And so
sort of
he
thing.
handcuffed Jeff Hardy's ear hole to a ladder, and then
Which sounds crazy, but it makes sense and was really cool.
Yeah.
So then Jeff Hardy has this ladder basically attached to his head, so he can't do anything despite trying to still get around, right?
He managed to get in the ring, though, towards the end. And then he handcuffed AJ to the ladder as he was climbing. He literally dropped down. So he handcuffed himself to AJ.
And
then
just
so
the facial
AJ
expressions on Sammy were so
with
good
his
with
hair
his
too.
hair looking all crazy and his beard.
Yeah.
Like, he just was amazing.
Yeah, and so what happened was, so AJ handcuffed himself to, or no, Sammy handcuffed himself to AJ, sorry, and just trying to keep him from going up, I guess.
Yep.
So then AJ like knocked out Sammy and then had him in the fireman's carry and was climbing up the ladder with Sammy on him. Then Sammy got up and then like he uncuffed himself because he had the key
in his mouth, like every good magician.
Yep. And then he dropped down and handcuffed AJ to the folding part of the ladder.
Yep.
And then he climbed up and grabbed the both belts.
So it's like innovative spots that make sense and make Sammy look like this intelligent heel, right?
Which he said
did
before.
nothing illegal. He just planned better than the other two wrestlers and had a plan and executed it, and it was awesome. Love that match.
It was really smart.
Then I thought I liked the main event, at least the last little bit. Like I was getting annoyed because it was just like
long.
One move,
clothesline,
walk around,
punch.
taunt.
Yeah,
But
and then
I like the story it told. I like the ring talking. They found out a way without the crowd, so it doesn't have to be a cinematch, as we call them, but they can also use the guys talking in the ring. I thought it was good. It just was way, way longer than I thought it needed to be.
And I think they are continuing this towards Hell in a Cell, which I don't think is necessary.
I think it's okay. I like what they're doing with
I'm
Roman.
Fine with
it's
it,
just
but
this.
I don't think it's necessary.
This could have been, to me, executed in like 8 to 10 minutes instead of 20, whatever it was. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is, I get what
Roman
they're
did
doing.
win by Jimmy Uso throwing in the towel.
It's kind of what I wanted, which was Usos to get just absolutely wrecked, but just they dragged it out a long time. The closing image of the one is Uso shielding the other Uso and sort of admitting, yeah, you're the man, Roman. That was a cool visual. It just took a really long time to get there, I thought.
Yeah, I think what they were going for was good. It's just about how they went about getting there.
The McIntyre Orton I thought was a fine like sports entertainment match, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, and they said broken, fractured jaw like
1,000
times.
There's a debate of whether it made McIntyre look weak or not, needing the help of like 3 legends.
Yeah.
Plus Ric Flair driving the ambulance, I guess. But
yeah, and
I thought it was okay. Like it didn't bother me. It held my interest.
He did a terrible punt too.
Yes.
Like,
I missed it.
It was awful.
By half a foot.
Yeah.
I thought my only other notes were that Zelina Vega did better than I expected.
Asuka competing twice confused me.
They had to do something, and then some people I think were annoyed by Bailey cheating to get away from it, but I think that makes sense from her world, right? Like,
yeah, but
this isn't
I
the
think
competitor she was going to face.
If that's what they're going to do, I think they could have at least chosen from someone from SmackDown.
Well, they were at the last minute, right? They had people drop out of this pay-per-view, so they had to fill spots pretty quickly. I was okay with it.
They really got... No, sorry, I moved my mic.
You don't have to be that close to it.
They totally moved one match off, which was Baszler and Jax.
No Baszler, Jax, or
Riot,
Nikki Cross.
But
Yep.
because obviously the tag champs were both out, so.
The only other note I have is that the middle was boring because it was basically matchups that seemed to have happened dozens of times already, like Apollo Lashley.
Nothing like interesting.
The tag title match, it was the opposite of fresh for me.
What was the tag title match again? The SmackDown one?
I don't know who
or
is
the
it.
Raw one.
I don't know who's on what show. I don't watch them. Just tell me who the competitors were, and I'll tell you.
Cesaro?
Yes.
Okay.
No, wasn't that pre-show?
No, was it? Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm talking
The one where
Street
Garza
Profits.
gets injured? Oh, yeah, Garza's
That
injured.
has happened 1,000 times. So just the opposite of fresh. Like what I always like about AEW is I haven't seen these matchups 1,000 times yet. The middle of this
Right.
pay-per-view felt like it was just Raw, SmackDown, whatever on repeat. So overall, didn't love the...
Uneventful.
I thought the pay-per-view was in the middle for me if we were going thumbs up or thumbs down. They're in the middle.
Honestly, also the outcome of the ladder match I think was good. I think I wanted Sami to win. So
Yep. Go see the ladder match.
I just like the visual of the two same titles.
Go see the ladder match. Highlights of
WrestleMania
the
10.
two last matches, and you're good, probably, I would say.
Yeah, I think you could, definitely highlights of the main event just because it was pretty long.
Yep.
And then I would definitely say watch the ladder match.
And then the middle, don't worry about it.
And I was also pretty hyped for the ladder match going in, I think rightfully so. So that, it definitely didn't disappoint. So that was good. Because I find in this pandemic era, it's difficult to really get a good match. Like, because they can always get a good build if they want to. So it's really difficult to pull it off sometimes in this time. So I was just happy to see them pull through with that match.
Yep, it was a great match. Well, I think that's it for that. I don't have anything else to say about it, so we should maybe transition into our first sort of in-depth review of our weekly show, and that is AEW Dynamite review. So that is mostly you, sir. So whenever you are ready, I will support you.
I finally figured out what Ricky Stark's finisher is called, Rochambeau, and now I can spell it too. So that's
so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought it'd be some French spelling where it's like Rochambeau. It's like Beaaux or something. But it's like Roshambo.
Nice.
Super simple, and I feel stupid.
All right. So anyway.
Speaking of, I talked about that first just because our opening match was Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin. They've been hyping this for a while, so...
I was really looking forward to this.
Yeah. I'll talk about it a little more after, I guess. But so shotgun dropkick by Darby Allin. Spears countered into a guillotine by Darby. Tossed by Darby into a Fujiwara armbar. Starks is on apron. Now Darby's on the apron too. Apron suplex by Darby. Suicide dive by Darby as well. Cage walks out and Will Hobbs attacks him and they brawl on the stage and then they go backstage.
Hoss fight up the ramp, I have.
Yeah, Hoss fight up the ramp. Nice.
Yep.
Starks pulls Darby off of the apron, hard on the floor. The landing was pretty nice on that one.
It was.
Elbow by Starks, chops by Starks, hammer thrown in the corner by Starks. Just like a harder Irish whip when they like send them super hard. They really like put their body into it.
Yes.
On that, right? So, second hammer throw into the opposite corner. Darby gets the boots up on when he attempts a corner attack. A half crab by Starks. A back suplex by Starks for a 2 count. Knee to the top of the head by Starks and a 2 count. And Starks follows with a back chop. Darby reverses the Rochambeau and hits a sunset bomb, also known as like Code Red or Code Blue or whatever you want to call it. Fujiwara armbar by Darby. Both arms trapped now. He traps both Starks' arms. Nice move there.
Yeah, I thought that looked awesome.
Starks gets the ropes and the slap exchange, a strike exchange. Starks misses a chop block. Flip over stunner by Darby Allin. That's his usual move of his.
Yep, it looked good.
Starks catches a springboard attempt with a really good spear.
Yes.
Many replays.
Yeah, speared him out of midair. It looked really good. Both of them are sort of in midair because Starks just like launches himself at you, right? So it looked really good.
Yep. Darby gets out of an avalanche Rochambeau. I got to type it again because I can spell it now. Kicks Starks down. Coffin drop to the back by Darby Allin for the win. Darby Allin wins, and what I wrote was it was a good match, but given the lead up, I think it needed more time in the match and maybe perhaps some sort of interesting stipulation.
So very similar opinion. I have a good match, but it feels like they're saving something for a future higher profile match, right? That this is
probably.
like this is the decent appetizer before the delicious meal sort of thing. I'm hoping, right?
Nice.
That's kind of what it feels like because these guys are capable of a lot more than this, and it's two of the faster competitors they have, right?
And future stars too, which is
so
good.
I'm hoping they get another chance and they get a lot more time and they can just showcase some more.
Yeah, you're pitting two of your future stars against each other, which is good because then it can probably make them both stars, more so probably whoever wins, but I think if they book this right, they'll both come out looking fairly good.
So somewhat, to be honest, disappointing considering who was in it and considering that it's the opener for AEW and they're generally pretty hot. But it wasn't like it was bad, right? So I don't want to try and say it was bad. It's just I had higher expectations for it.
Yeah, that's fair to say. So we find out, I think they announced on social media, but I don't think I caught it until this, but Eddie Kingston's going to choose Moxley's challenger
Yeah, I
tonight.
didn't know where that came out of. I
Yeah.
figured it was one of those, it's on dark or whatever, and I just missed it. One of the things that annoys me about AEW is they expect that I'm watching everything on
Let's
the internet.
just say, I'm not going to spoil it yet, but it was kind of disappointing who it was, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep, we'll get there.
We got a Cody in-ring interview. He's got his stupid black hair.
Jack
Cody,
talks hair on FNS Wrestling every week.
yeah, it doesn't look terrible, but I think it just, I said this last time, it just doesn't look natural. I think even his blonde hair looks better, because like I said, he's the son of Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty Rhodes is very blonde.
I need to make a note so I can put this in the Jack Talks hair montage that I'm going to make from our podcast.
Oh, nice. Cody talks about his trainer Al Snow and what he said to him. This seemed irrelevant, but
About wrestling hurt, not injured sort of thing is all I made notes of.
he says wrestlers shake hands because they need each other, because it's someone versus someone, and kind of breaking kayfabe, sort of. Like, I don't know. Cody says he was ashamed of the 3-minute loss to Brody Lee, and I think he should be. He mentions his new terrible show crap. What's it called again?
I don't remember. It was so
Okay.
long. Isn't it? It's some sort of talent show, but they can't sing, I think is what it is. No singing or
Yes.
dancing, but like a talent show.
But it's stupid. I think.
How do you know? It doesn't even exist yet.
It doesn't? I thought it started
Just say
already.
it doesn't interest you. That's fine.
He talks about the 3 singles champions and how I think they're supposed to carry the company. He declines the dog collar match and walks out to stage. He's like, no. And then he turns back and he said he meant no regrets and no whatevers. And he
Yeah, so he
actually
switches to like
accepts.
super intense at this part, right? When he comes back to accept it.
Yes, that was unnecessary. Just accept it and then do the
I think
dramatic.
I've poisoned you on Cody Rhodes. You used to love him, but now you're sounding more like me talking
No,
about
I
him.
like him, but you raised a good point. So.
Yes, thank you. I try.
Yeah. Brody Lee runs out for a pull-apart brawl. Brandy runs out and dies on the Dark Order. This was terrible. Reminded me of the Vicky Guerrero
It
frog
made
splash.
the Dark Order look weak. I have that in my notes as well.
It looked like the Vicky Guerrero frog splash from WrestleMania.
Yeah, she took out how many Dark Order?
Like,
from
all
the
of them.
from the apron, like 100-pound woman jumping on like
She
5
didn't even
people.
jump with force either.
So, anyways, I did not love it either.
Brandy and Anna Jay are separated, and then Nyla Rose attacks a random person for some reason.
Yes, Nyla Rose attacks a dark competitor. I forget who it is.
For no reason. There's the one competitor who looks like Brandy, too. We'll talk about her later.
And then I said, "Is that Watts on the pull apart?"
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it looked like a guy from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I actually just checked before we started recording, and someone made a comment to him about it, and he never said. He put some sort of emojis on, which I don't understand, not being a social media guy, so I don't know what they meant.
I just wrote, this segment is too long.
It was lengthy.
It was hardly even a brawl.
And
There was-
Cody's delivery as a face bugs me, as we all know if you listen to the show. Even in this, he's like, he starts name dropping what I put in quotation marks celebrities, because I'm not sure who all of them are. But it's him, this baby face, just casually mentioning all the famous people he knows. He always finds a way to do something in everything he does that doesn't seem like a baby face to me. Too long, too many people, too much chaos. I didn't really love this segment.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was very Cody, so
Super Cody.
no surprises that you didn't like it.
He thinks he's doing a great job acting and like making this turn from this intense half of the promo, but I just find it kind of cheesy. No offense, Cody.
So next we have an FTR interview. Cash talks about how they did Best Friends a favor by not doing the Brush with Greatness challenge last
Well,
week.
they weren't healthy, right, or something like that. Was there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
thing. They put over SCU a teeny bit, and Dax responds to a question regarding the Young Bucks. Says the Bucks blew every chance they had at the titles.
Decent
They don't
heel
deserve
logic.
title match. No, it is true because they lost to Private Party. They
Yep.
lost to Hangman Page, and they lost the Gauntlet.
Yet everyone still talks about how they're the best, but they
Right.
don't really win that often.
The Gauntlet was more or less not their fault.
Right.
But still,
And that doesn't matter. The heels don't worry about the details, right? Like, they're just saying the overall argument is
the
this. Don't worry
facts.
about the
Yes.
details.
They talk about a Dave Meltzer reference. And also I found out that the person to get the most, I think, 5-star matches or whatever is Nick Jackson.
Yeah, I believe that.
I think he's one above Matt Jackson because he had that match against Phoenix.
Yes.
The one time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it used to be AJ Styles.
Meltzer loves them and loves anything wrestled in Japan. He tends to bump that up a half a star.
Yeah, there's only been a few main roster WWE matches who have gotten that. Yeah. A lot of NXT.
He's known for loving, and it's not a criticism because New Japan stuff is awesome, but he definitely enjoys that product more.
Yeah, fair enough for him. I don't know. I don't watch it, but
yeah,
whatever. And then Matt Jackson super kicks Tony Schiavone.
Kind of out of nowhere, just kind of. Tony starts to talk again and immediately get kicks in the face.
And he's like,
and then
ah!
Matt Jackson just leaves right after.
Yep. Again, them showing us how heely they are.
Yeah, it was fine. FTR has their logic, and Matt Hardy's just showing up and being a jerk and kicking people and probably getting fined for it. So it's just kind of carrying on. It was good.
Yep, and then we got another interview, this time with good old SCU. They claim they'll become 2-time champs as they walk out for their entrance. Sean Spears, for some reason, sarcastically says good luck.
Right, sarcastically wishes them luck. I was just excited that it's Scorpio Sky and not Daniels.
Literally the only reason I could think of that would make Sean Spears being here somewhat make sense is Tully Blanchard.
I guess, yes.
Even then, what?
Right. And I think I turned on Daniels a bit just because, well, his matches haven't been great lately either, but when we saw him in the summer before Corona and he was at that indie show and he looked super miserable and he was the only one trying to charge for pictures and autographs, which made me annoyed right away. Like all the wrestlers are kind of at this, it's basically a bar that they've put a wrestling show in and they're all just hanging out and nobody minds, come up and take a picture, get an autograph, whatever. Everybody's really cool. And then there's Daniels looking really not approachable at all. And then basically when you ask for a picture, is $10 okay? So I don't know. It bugged me.
I would have, if he's trying to get money, I would have understood like maybe even just $5, but like.
Well, maybe he was just having a rough day too. He just didn't look like he wanted to be there, but maybe he didn't, and maybe he had good reason. Anyways.
Yeah, fair enough.
Carry on.
But yeah, that was good. But I know that did bug you because
it did.
You talk about that quite a bit. Not here, but just like.
In life,
yeah.
Yes.
So then we walk into SCU versus FTR, the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, the Brush with Greatness 20-minute time limit challenge match. Hangman Page is on commentary.
Wow, I wrote down Best Friends versus FTR. What's wrong with me?
Maybe you just really wanted them to be champions.
Hangman, on commentary with his glass of whiskey, and I love the FTR satin jackets for some reason. Mm-hmm. Like, again, something I would never wear, but somehow it looks cool for them to wear.
Yep. So we start our match with Dax Harwood versus Kaz, Frankie Kazarian. They trade holds, shoulder tackles by both dudes, clothesline by Kaz. Sky tags in, a dropkick by Sky. Cash tags in, headlock takedown by Sky. Cash slips and blames Daniels, even though he literally did nothing. Ref ejects Daniels. Dax takes in. Sky hits a crossbody out of the corner. And Kaz, tags in. It's kind of like a hiccup, but like you don't make a sound. It's like, I don't know.
Great details.
Double back body drop by SCU. Cash tags back in. FTR are sent to the outside. Sky tags in. Kaz misses a baseball slide, but a tope con hilo by Sky takes out FTR. Dax pulls Sky out of a pin on Cash. Cash misses a corner dive. Dax tags back in, cuts off the tag for Sky. Cash distracts the ref as Sky gets a small package, so the pin does not really get counted there.
Right, ref distraction.
Yep.
Misses a pin
Russian
cover.
leg sweep by Sky. Kaz hot tag, gets a jumping heel kick. Kind of like Rusev and Umaga used to do. Cash tags in. Fisherman suplex by Kaz for 2. Dax assists Cash in evading a German suplex. Dax takes back in. Sunset flip by Dax, assisted by a drop kick by Cash. Backslide by Dax is reversed by Kaz, and he takes out Cash. Sky tags in. Double team German suplex by SCU. Stereo cutters by SCU. They kind of like slingshot them in.
Yeah, this flurry looked pretty cool.
Cash blind tag. Powerbomb by Dax, followed by a dragon suplex by Cash for a near fall. Kaz, shoves Dax, which crotches Cash on the top turnbuckle. Dax tags in. Kaz counters a double team into a slam for a near fall. Sky tags in. Roll up by Sky twice, neither getting a pin. Tully holding on to Cash for the assist. Suplex by Sky. Tully trips Sky when he's attempting the suplex, and Cash lands on top of him, and Tully holds Sky's feet down, an FTR win, and they retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships.
And what did you think?
I thought it was good. The 20-minute challenge thing it's alright, but it's not something that interests me too much. It is part of their gimmick, so I guess it's fine, but not too much of interest for me, I guess.
I love this match. I thought it was a classic FTR. It's that story of like the other team may have similar ability or more ability, but FTR are going to gain their advantage through just effective double teaming and cheating. They cheat in so many ways, right? And they're all effective. So I really like this. This is their style to me. A long match where they have to keep gaining the advantage by just heel tactics and just simple moves that look like they would be effective.
Yep.
Classic. I like them. And then I had here that Omega announced to be in a singles tournament at the end of the match.
They announced an 8-man tournament for an AEW World Title shot. The finals take place at their Full Gear pay-per-view. So the only confirmed participants are Jungle Boy, Rey Fenix, and, of course, Kenny Omega.
And so Paige does his little sad face, right? Because at the beginning of this match, they had talked about how, Omega says that he's strictly a singles wrestler now, and Adam Page made the point of, like, so what singles match has he been in then? If he's this dedicated singles wrestler, right? Like, he still hasn't done any singles matches. Why not? If he's for sure. So this was him kind of realizing, Omega is going to have singles matches, and he was sad.
Yeah. R.I.P. Omega and Hangman, I guess.
So I get what they're trying to do with Paige. I just don't know. I'm not quite sure why, because he had such a cool thing going as they could do the lone wolf, just doesn't care about much of anything, but they're kind of going with this now. Again, I talked about it before, like this, he's sensitive and his feelings are hurt, and I don't know. I guess we'll try it and see, but
I'm not saying he's not cool, but I definitely agree he had a good character arc going.
And I guess it's a departure from a character that I don't think had run its course yet, is what I'm saying, right? Like, they could have got more juice out of the previous page before they got into this, but we'll see what they're doing, I guess.
Yeah. Again, I do trust them more than some other promotion that we watch.
I had a Canadian TV update here for all our Canadian fans. We're pretty much done the first hour, and we got no picture-in-picture at all. And
I don't think we got picture-in-picture at all.
I think that's a first.
Yeah, I don't remember getting any picture-in-picture this entire show.
Nope, I don't think so.
Which is disappointing, I guess. Well, actually, I don't care too much, but...
So, what's next? Isaiah Cassidy, Chris Jericho?
Isaiah Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. I saw in the PWI 500 that they spelled Cassidy with a K, so I don't know if that was just on the Indies, because I would assume so. Because I don't think they spell it like that in AEW, right? So.
No, I don't think they do.
But I kind of wish they did now, because I feel like that'd be helpful, given that we have another Cassidy.
Another Cassidy, for sure.
Anyways, Jericho taunts Cassidy. Cassidy attacks. Hurricane Rana by Cassidy. For those of you who've been watching the podcast lately, you'll think it's this Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho.
It is not.
Because I think in the time we've been doing the podcast, we have covered, I think, both of their matches.
Absolutely.
Other than the Mimosa.
We have.
Right? So,
yep.
Roll up for near fall by Cassidy, so it's just going to be confusing. Cassidy catapults Jericho out of the ring. Baseball slide misses, and Jericho shoves Cassidy into the barricade. Jericho sent over the barricade and attacked by Luther for some reason.
Oh boy, we're getting Luther introduced. I'm thrilled.
Swanton by Cassidy for a near fall. Pop up by Jericho, just pops him up and lets him fall.
Yep.
Doesn't do anything after. Suplex by Jericho post commercial break. No picture-in-picture. Cassidy fights back. Jake Hager, cheap shot while ref is distracted. Jericho misses a corner attack tornado kick by Cassidy. Springboard flip over stunner by Cassidy for a near fall. Springboard stunner by Cassidy off of the bottom rope. Lion salt attempted by Jericho, but Cassidy gets the knees up and falls with a lion salt of his own. Then hits a code breaker by Cassidy on
stealing Jericho's moves.
Yep. And springboard's caught by a Judas effect by Jericho, and Chris Jericho picks up the win.
I thought the Judas effect off the springboard looked awesome. Looked like he devastated him. One thing I don't enjoy is I just made a note early on, put masks on the people at ringside. Why is that so hard? Model the behavior. Though. They don't have them on now.
I know, which is weird because they used to.
So model the behavior you want to see in society, people. Just put masks on them. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
The other thing I put here is Cassidy. It's interesting. He looks like he does moves because he's athletic enough to do them, not because he's mastered them, if you know what I mean. Like, he can pull them off, but they're not very... He needs to tighten them up, right? And if he does, watch out, because he's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't... Did you talk about the tag match brewing after?
They try to attack Cassidy and are chased away, and then they brawl with Luther and Serpentico.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, we're setting up for a match there. I really like this match. The young up-and-comer does a million things and loses, while the old wily veteran does almost nothing and wins, right?
They changed Pentagon to Penta because of Serpentico. That's
Maybe.
Right. I blame him.
So I like this match.
I figured it out.
Young guy does too much and loses. Old guy just does a little bit and wins.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It was good. I don't know. If Cassidy was just going to lose, I don't know why he needed to do this, but...
You're a man of not very strong opinions today. It was good, I guess. It was okay, I guess.
I just think they should have just... I don't know. I think if they're going to put him in a singles match, I think they need to build him for that. And because I just didn't see the point to...
I think it's just one of those, let's see what he can do and get him some exposure. They don't have NXT or the Performance Center to build people, right? They kind of have to do it within the body of their show.
So the next segment is Kip Sabian and Miro preparing for the bachelor party. Axe throwing, and they're at the arcade, and there's some random guy.
Billy Mitchell? I don't know who that is, and I didn't care enough to look it up, so I'm sure it's someone famous that I have no idea of.
So Miro's in over his head planning, I guess, is the point of this segment.
Whatever. I have whatever segment. I started off interested, and then I lost interest because I have no idea who this guy is. Were we supposed to know from Life or from Dark or from Being the Elite or something where I don't watch these things? I don't know. And I didn't bother to look it up. You're the young person. You're supposed to be hip and cool. I'm not supposed to know anything current. I'm old.
I don't watch Dark.
I'm going to blame you.
I don't care enough to watch Dark. And I do subscribe to Being the Elite. I just don't really watch it.
All right, well then move on.
Best Friends interview. FTR interrupt. FTR say Best Friends are comedic relief. Mid-Carters. Best Friends fake out punching FTR, and Chuck calls them weenies. Sounds like a child.
I thought it was Orange Cassidy came by and called them weenies.
No.
That's what I wrote down.
Was it? I don't know. I just heard someone call them weenies.
Someone email us and tell us.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, I forgot to announce that we are on iTunes.
That was one of our big announcements. Not that I mean it's that big a deal, because it's not rocket science to get on there. It's just that it was for me. So I actually had to employ the help of a buddy of mine who knows what he's doing, because no matter what I did, they just would not accept our artwork. So and some of the things they're asking for, I don't even know what it means. So he helped me out and got it up there in about 2 minutes. That took me hours to not be able to do. So we are now proudly on iTunes, which is cool.
Yep. So I'm going to assume a lot of people use that. So if that is your preferred platform,
welcome.
Yeah, it does have all our episodes up there.
It does have all our episodes up there,
including our.
I don't recommend anything before about episode 5 because it really doesn't sound.
Yeah,
very
the
good.
sound's definitely better now, so I'd recommend. And I think we might start trying to get a bonus episode in the works. I was suggesting to Nate he could, we could get a third guest person.
Oh, get your brother in? That'd be fun.
I was thinking maybe like some retro pay-per-view. But maybe I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
maybe
off the air.
in any other wrestling business, or like I'll just maybe mention it again or something.
Okay.
We'll see. So we had Orange Cassidy versus 10, who I believe is named Preston Van.
Correct.
So I think it was.
It's a big dude.
Yep. Jacked too.
He is.
Entrances during commercial. For someone like 10, I guess that makes sense. 10 takes sunglasses from Cassidy and gives them to John Silver, who then shows off. A cool flatliner by 10.
Yep.
10 puts Cassidy's hands in his pockets. A roll up by Cassidy. Pump kick sends Cassidy out of the ring. Dark Order mock the Best Friends hug. Cassidy dives and takes out the Dark Order. 10 catches a cross body. Cassidy reverses into a DDT. Orange punch followed by a beach break by Cassidy for the win.
I really liked the beach break. I thought it
I thought it was cool because he wasn't really using his hands a ton. They just dropped him.
So I thought this match was decent. There was one spot in the middle there where it was one of those let's all huddle together so someone can jump on us again.
I think the result was never in doubt.
No, of course not.
That shouldn't. That doesn't always have to hinder the match quality.
Not at all. 10 got a bit of offense in. Cassidy's finisher I thought looked sudden and cool, but it was essentially an enhancement match, right?
Right. I
Because
would say
Cassidy's
that's
coming
fair.
off a loss. You got to let people know, hey, we're still have plans for him.
We're still
sort of thing,
interested
right?
in him.
Right. So I thought for what it was fine. It was
Yep.
fine. Obviously, FNS slogan. It's fine.
So we have MJF backstage. He goes to Jericho's locker room with gifts. Gives each Inner Circle member jackets except for Sammy Guevara.
Yep. Got nothing for
Drama,
Sammy.
drama. Sammy gets a little mad. Jericho asks if MJF wants to join the Inner Circle, and then MJF asks if Jericho wants him to
They
join the Inner
reprised
Circle.
that role from earlier in.
I loved that segment when they did it the first time, so I was very happy to see this.
Yeah, and
They just go
MJF
back and forth, and it's hilarious.
includes some like subtle old jokes to Jericho. I can't remember. I didn't make note of them specifically, but
I just like the way he says it too. He's like, so Jericho would be like, Max, do you want to join the Inner Circle? And then he'll like, I don't know, Chris, do you want me
Right.
to join the Inner Circle? Just like the way they play it off, it's just so it's like they're just really invested in it.
because they want the other person to want them, right? Their egos won't let them admit that they want part of the other person's life. They want the other person to request it, right? Because
Right.
that's their egos.
I just remember the original segment when they did this. It was so good.
And Jericho at the end sort of makes some sarcastic comment about Wardlow, like talking a lot or whatever, like rips him for just being a silent. Right. So this is that carrying on of MJF. Remember, he said maybe he needs to get a crew or become part of a crew.
But like being too stubborn to
and this whole thing that he's a lone wolf, even though he always has a muscle guy with him, right? So
Right.
I enjoy it. This was fun.
I actually really like this, just for the simple fact that they acknowledged that segment from.
Yeah, it was a nice callback to a segment you loved months ago.
Enjoyed it. It was because the original segment was funny, and then just like when they both said like Cody or whatever, it just gave me flashbacks to Jericho and Owens.
Yep, as we said, you could just put Jericho and MJF together every week for a few minutes and let them figure it out, and we'll
I will
watch
be
it.
happy.
Yep.
So then we had Britt Baker finally returning to in-ring action for realsies. No face mask, no knee brace, no wheelchair, no nothing.
Looked
just
ready to go.
Just her and Reba.
Welcome back, Britt Baker.
And they actually called her Reba too.
They did.
And she faces Red Velvet.
Worst ring name I've heard in a while. I said.
That's terrible. And she looks a lot like Brandy Rhodes.
She did look a lot like Brandy Rhodes.
Really, same skin tone, similar hair highlights, just like
same size, like ring gear that looked like Brandy might wear it.
It's like maybe it's Brandy's sister.
Yep.
Maybe it's Brandy's sister.
Anyways.
Many arm holds by both people.
Yes. I have lots of arm work. Yep.
Forearm by Baker, that looked pretty nice. Back elbow with authority,
Looked
I wrote
good too,
by
yeah.
Baker. That sounds like a thing these
I wonder if she's been working on her strikes or something, because they looked a little more aggressive.
Lariat by Velvet. Wheelbarrow Bulldog by Velvet. Repeat noise. Hammerlock clothesline by Baker. Double underhook suplex by Baker. Stomps Velvet into the ropes. Sling blade by Baker. Roll it by Velvet for 2. Swinging Fisherman's Neckbreaker by Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And curb stomp sorta by Baker for the win.
Yeah, a curb stomp for win, question mark?
It was not. It was like when you said curb stomp, I missed, and then like rewinded. I was just like, "Is it?"
And then I immediately wrote her usual finisher on hold for pandemic time, question mark? Never mind, cuz
She does it after.
she
the match.
immediately puts it on,
Which
right?
then why wouldn't you just use it in the match? Because I love the submission. It's good.
Yeah.
It's clever. It's a cool take on the Rings of Saturn, which is cool enough.
But I mean, it's that whole showing she's a vicious, mean heel. Even after the match, she's already beat you. She's going to slap on something extra painful, I guess.
Yeah, but then I think she could win with the lockdown, then just keep it on. Same thing.
Or hit something else. Yeah, refuse to release it, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought this was, I liked it. Reminded us of Baker. She looked good.
Got the job
She looked
done.
aggressive. Her pace was good. Aggressive striking.
Brandy got too much offense.
It's like I
Brandy.
have classic AEW. A no-name wrestler gets a lot against one of your major stars. It seems
That's
to be
one of their weaknesses, I feel like. It's just like they tend to do that a little
It seems
too much.
to be their way. I'm not sure how I feel about it either, but I mean, again, they have no other way to build stars, right? They can try dark or whatever, but they don't have a performance center, so I guess they're just trying to do it within the body of the show.
Right. So we have a few things announced for next week. We have Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Chaos Project, which is your favorite, Luther and Serpentico.
Wow.
They have a terrible name for a terrible team.
I mean, we'll see. We haven't literally seen Luther do nothing, so maybe he's amazing. I have my doubts.
And the only time I've seen Serpentico was when it was Sammy disguised as him. And I seriously hope Serpentico's good, because then the best Serpentico offense won't even be from Serpentico.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll be Sammy, then like a shooting star and whatever.
Yep.
And then we also have Brian Cage versus Will Hobbs for the FTW Championship next week.
There's something about Hobbs I like. I don't even know what it is. I just want to see more of him so I can figure out how good he is.
FTW title. If your team Taz and you put the FTW title on the line, say Will Hobbs wins, wouldn't it be funny if they just say, nope, wasn't for the title?
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
That's a couple of big boys, so that should be interesting.
Yep. And then we have Brody Lee versus Cody for the TNT Championship in a dog collar match.
Not my favorite, but again, we usually trust AEW to make things better. So,
and I've never actually seen a dog collar match. I've seen a strap match, and that's it. I mean,
they may come up with some spots to do with it, but it's just, I don't know.
Yep.
I've seen
a couple of strap matches. I think it was Fiend and Bryan from the Royal Rumble this year, and then also we had Roderick Strong and Dexter Schmoomis.
Right.
So then we have our last thingy, I think it is we're leading into our main event.
Main event time.
Eddie Kingston chooses Mox's title challenger, talks about title match last week, says he didn't tap, which is true, asks ref why he called the match over last week. It's the Bryce Remsburg guy, I think it is.
The ref?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says Kingston didn't respond and he was passed out. Mox comes out holding a barbed wire bat, and the Butcher is his opponent.
My first note was Jack is not thrilled when we were watching it.
You couldn't even at least choose Phoenix.
I don't know. I find Butcher.
Or Pentagon.
I find Butcher kind of interesting, even though
I'm
I do
not
always.
saying he's terrible, but it's just so underwhelming.
But I think for like a main event, no build, you don't want to waste that on Phoenix or somebody amazing, right? Because you can hype that and promote it. This one is just
Blade.
Okay. Anyways, move on. You're unhappy.
I don't know. I just didn't like it. The match was actually turned out to be fine, but I don't know. Again, just underwhelming for me.
Yep.
So Jon Moxley versus the Butcher, AEW World Championship commences immediately. Slam by Butcher and a knee drop. Chops by Butcher, clothesline by Butcher. Butcher choking Mox on the ropes 2 times.
Yes.
PK by Mox to the chest. Penalty kick.
Yep.
Cross arm breaker by Mox. Shades of Del Rio or Del Patron, was it? What was his impact?
Patron.
El Patron.
Yep.
Half crab by Butcher, a ground and pound by the Butcher, running power slam by the Butcher, half crab again.
I don't think Butcher's quite up to like working a limb targeting strategy. You know what I mean? Like he's not quite that polished. But anyways.
Stretch on Mox's leg. Mox is on the outside. Butcher sent flying into the barricade. Looked pretty nice.
Yeah, it looked awesome for a
Mox
big dude.
tries to run the ropes.
He got right
and
horizontal.
His knee gives out. Yeah, it looked pretty nice. Cross body by the Butcher for 2. Pump handle Iranagi by the Butcher for 2, which I really liked.
Yeah, some cool offense.
Superplex by Mox, which is a superplex on big man always looks cool.
Yep.
A submission by the Butcher, pile driver by Mox, middle rope cross body by the Butcher for 2.
Yep.
Paradigm shift followed by the Bulldog choke, and Butcher taps rather than passing out. And Jon Moxley retains the AEW World Championship via submission.
So I thought this was better than I thought it was going to be. Butcher always has a couple of awkward looking spots or like.
No, yeah, the match did exceed expectations.
But he looked quite good at times, and I liked this more than I thought I would. Especially since it's the main event. I was kind of thinking, really, this is your main event? But it was pretty good. And Butcher has a really cool look to him. So I was okay with it.
I really wasn't looking forward to this once they announced the Butcher, but it did exceed expectations a wee bit.
Yep. So it sort of seemed like there was some experimental giving guys singles matches tonight, right? For whatever reason.
Cassidy and Butcher.
So,
yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Overall, your thoughts and grade?
I'd have to do just maybe a straight B.
Okay.
Because I just feel like it hasn't been up to the standards of the past few weeks. It was not bad by any stretch of the word. It was.
Yeah, there hasn't been a bad week yet.
There's never been a bad week. It just again wasn't up to the standards that I just think they've put out, and
so
it just hasn't been as good as the other ones.
Yep.
But yeah, it was still good, and there's like if you need some good wrestling to watch, I would still say you should go watch it.
Yep. I thought the show it still went by pretty quickly. Like it never feels like a chore.
Yeah, it never feels like a pain.
I
like
really
the
enjoyed
other show.
Really enjoyed the FTR match. Cassidy Jericho I thought over delivered, and the main event was better than I thought it was going to be. So I gave it like just barely a B plus. So I'm half a letter grade higher than you, which is the opposite of how it usually is. But yeah, a good show, but not great.
No, yeah, and I'm never like anti like or like not wanting to watch AEW.
Right.
So
Whereas NXT, sometimes I gotta do a lot of prompting to get through it.
And
For you, I'm fine with it.
yeah, but yeah, so it was not up to their usual standards, but still like watchable, like
Absolutely.
enjoyable
Yep.
somewhat.
If you like wrestling, and you'll
Then-
probably enjoy the show.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the AEW Dynamite review. I almost did it.
Ooh.
I saved it though. I don't know what my problem is with that, but anyways. And we'll now
Gotta
move
figure it out.
into off the top of his head, where Jackson's gonna probably dazzle us with some trivial knowledge of
Because
wrestling.
I am
We'll see.
smart.
All right, so I switched it up again
Supposedly.
this week. Last week, on listening back, I didn't love the guessing the characters or wrestlers as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, it's a little like I don't know.
So now I'm switching it up. You don't know anything about. I didn't mention anything about it, did I?
No, you just
Okay.
literally told me what you just said.
So this is the top, someone else's. It's from 411 Mania, I think, is the source of this. So the top WWE matches from the year you were born, which is when? 2007, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So to start, I'm going to give you the event, the year, obviously, the event, the type of match, if I can, like if it was a
Okay.
championship match and what pay-per-view, and then
Or
see
like
if you
if
just
it's
know
like
it.
say Last Man Standing. You'd
Yes.
be able to say
I'll
that.
be like, so it was Last
There
Man
was
Standing.
a Last Man Standing in 2007.
Last Man Standing at Royal Rumble, blah, blah, blah.
John Cena versus Umaga.
Okay, so anyways, let's get started then.
Good
All right,
example.
So I'm looking at their, I think top 10 is what I'll go with, unless I need to replace one. So they
Chris
are
Benoit.
saying for them, match 10 was the WWE title match at WrestleMania 23.
John Cena versus Shawn Michaels.
That is correct. All right.
Tag champs facing off.
So this one, it tells you the match. So the way I'm going to work around this is, so it's the 2007 Royal Rumble. I want to tell you to tell me whoever the final two and who won.
Undertaker and Shawn Michaels were the final two, I think.
Correct?
And Undertaker won.
Correct. Wow. Okay. So this is going well. Number 8, WWE title match at SummerSlam.
Was it John Cena?
Yes.
Versus Booker T?
No.
Triple H?
No. A current star. who
Randy
is-
Orton.
Yes, correct. I was going to say who's still in the title picture. Good. Number 7. So it's going to tell you the match. So you're going to tell me, if you can, the competitors and the winner. So they're saying number 7 is the Money in the Bank ladder match. So that was
The winner was Mr. Kennedy.
correct.
Do I need anything else?
Who
for that?
who was in it?
CM Punk.
Correct. Kennedy, Punk. Anyone else?
Shelton Benjamin.
No.
Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
MVP.
No.
Matt Hardy.
No. Oh yes. No. Sorry, Jeff Hardy. Somebody already guessed for a previous one.
MVP.
No. Booker T. Randy
Oh,
Orton.
Booker T. Randy
Finlay.
Orton. Huh.
So you got the match and the winner, not all the competitors. Still pretty good.
I knew Jeff Hardy was in because he did like a dive.
Number 6, World Heavyweight title match at Cyber Sunday with Stone Cold as a guest referee.
Oh.
That's a tough one.
I just watched a thing with this too.
Neither competitor with WWE still.
Great Khali.
No, actually one might still be affiliated. I shouldn't say that. He just doesn't wrestle.
Batista.
Yes, Batista versus another big man.
Undertaker.
Correct.
Oh, actually.
Number 5, World Heavyweight title match from WrestleMania 23.
Batista versus Undertaker.
Correct. Who won?
Undertaker. It's the streak.
Oh, right. That's a dumb question.
Yeah.
Sorry. Number 4, WWE title match, Fatal 4-Way at Backlash. That's hard.
I don't know. John Cena.
Correct.
Shawn Michaels.
Correct.
Randy Orton.
Correct.
Booker T.
No.
Oh. Triple H.
Nope. Retired Canadian.
Chris Benoit.
Nope. I didn't say dead Canadian.
Why am I laughing?
Retired, but has recently been on WWE.
Bret Hart.
No. Canadian. not
Christian.
that. No.
Edge.
Yes. Okay. Number 3, WWE title, Last Man Standing match at No Mercy.
Triple H versus Randy Orton.
Correct. Very good. I didn't know if you'd get that
Because
one.
they had a match earlier in the night, which Triple H won because Randy Orton was handed the title after John Cena was injured, and then Triple H defended it against Umaga, and then Randy Orton invoked his rematch clause, and then they had that match.
There you go, people. That was literally off the top of his head. That's a little bit scary. Okay. Number
Thanks.
2. How are you going to get this? This is a Raw match.
Ooh. All right, I'll go for it.
So, well, who would you guess in this?
What's it for? What match?
Just nothing. Just a regular Raw match.
Shawn Benjamin.
No.
John Cena.
Yes.
Shawn Michaels.
Yes. Cena and Michaels.
Oh, nice. Is it in London? Was it the one in London? 'Cause I think they had one in London or something.
If you're right, that would just be too much. It doesn't say in this little blurb that they're
I'm
giving
almost
you.
positive they had I think it was like a rematch in London.
So number 1, I'm assuming you'll get WWE title match, last man standing, Royal Rumble.
I already said it was John Cena and Umaga.
That's correct.
Umanga.
Very good. So you crushed. I like that one actually. So maybe the odd time I'll pick a year and try and find what people think are the best matches, because this is where it really showcases you remember very specific year match competitors thing. That's always amazing. So I would say you did pretty well there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that takes us to
Yeah, boy.
end of Off the Top of His Head. Another impressive performance, and we will transition shortly into my show, our NXT review.
Hee hee hee.
All right, so NXT this week started out with a recap of last week's show, and then it's immediately followed by Shotzi Blackheart's entrance, which I know made you happy right away.
Grown.
So this will be interesting. Normally when we're watching NXT, you're kind of sitting on the couch in front to the left of me, and I can see sort of your reactions and see what you're into. This time you were behind me at the kitchen table, so I had no idea really what your thoughts are. So that'll be a surprise to me. Pretty much all your opinions, I won't have a clue. Normally I can sort of gauge...
Bored.
How you were bored, eh? Okay, well, let's get into it. So we have Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai. With her, as usual, is Raquel Gonzalez now. So neither of us are huge Shotzi fans. I really like Dakota Kai. I think you like Kai, right?
Yeah, I do.
So we get some near misses and reversals for quite a while to start. That's my new way of summing up the beginning of most matches. Near misses and reversals. Because it pretty much
Fair enough.
covers most matches, right?
Yeah.
Shotzi does her Jeff Hardy low blow while screaming "Welcome to the ball pit," which
she's like, "Welcome to the ball pit."
It just makes me cringe. The stuff she does is so irritating.
It's not even, and also it's impractical. It's not even a low blow.
So that was something I was going to ask later, but I'll ask it now since it came up. Is there hope for her as a heel? Because so much of what she does is so irritating to me and to you. So does she have heel potential?
No, because they're not going for a heel. So
I know, but I'm saying potential if they ever decide to.
I don't.
Because I find her super irritating, so maybe it would work.
I don't.
You haven't
think
thought
so.
about it, obviously. You don't think so?
Because I don't know. I just don't. I don't see them doing that. I don't see unless they like.
I'm saying if they will or not. I'm saying does she have potential to be a heel? I don't care if they're going to.
I don't think so.
No, I think maybe because I find her super annoying. So maybe if they...
Yeah, but then what if they turn her heel and then she's interesting?
Well, why wouldn't they just keep her the same and flip her? Just like Cody Rhodes. Just do the exact same thing, but wrestle good guys instead. Anyways. Arm work and a pin attempt by Shotzi. Submission by Shotzi that was kind of unique. I didn't get into details about it, but it looked cool. I think she had both of the arms trapped for that one, maybe.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
I wish there was a little more like stretch on it.
They separate and there's forearms by each. Then we get a corner choke with a boot by Kai. Stomps and face washes with boots to Shotzi. Suplex by Kai for 2. Drop toe hold into the ropes for Kai, and Gonzalez has to sort of interfere for the save here. Kai hits a nice backbreaker before the commercial. Back from the commercial with shotgun drop kick and corner splash, bulldog knee. Forearm enziguri by Shotzi. I thought this was a really nice flurry. I thought this middle section here was some of the best I've seen her. Senton onto Kai in the ropes, chicken wing, German, and Shotzi looks ... good, question mark, right? I thought she did. I know you're not going to be happy about it. Double knees out of the corner to shift momentum for Kai. Hip toss by Kai for 2. Battle on the apron, ending with a scorpion kick by Kai, a question mark kick by Shotzi. I thought...
Is that what it's called?
I think it's what's called in other promotions because their foot sort of makes the question mark gesture before they kick the person.
Oh, it's actually a question mark kick. I thought you were saying question mark.
No, because I think it's like the motion of the foot is sort of like tracing out a question mark in the air.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not. You're the martial arts guy, not me.
Unfortunately.
We get a crazy sliced bread suplex where people almost die, it looks like.
Yeah.
It honestly looks like the ref and people have to get involved to make sure both of them are okay, because it didn't look like it went the way it was supposed to, but it still looked pretty awesome.
I don't think it did.
Rope running and Shotzi's tripped by Gonzalez, and Ripley shows up to sort of take care of Gonzalez, and and Ripley's ushered out really quickly. We get a missed running kick by Kai. Shotzi attacks her for a surprise pin. So I'm not happy Kai lost, but this is by far my favorite Shotzi match. There was a section in the middle.
Is the bar that high, though?
I don't know. I'm always open to people improving. I don't want to dislike people. So I thought she looked good here. And I know you're not going to be pleased with that, but there's the middle chunk. She looked really good. Her moves looked to come together faster. She was linking things together better. It looked a little bit cleaner in the middle. So maybe there's potential. I still don't enjoy her character. I feel like there's 1,000 different things going on with her character. She needs to sort of pare it down a bit. But I thought she was okay here. Nothing to say.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of her. I guess it was her best showing, but again, there's not exactly a high bar for that.
Well, I'm just hoping she improves. I would love more. Well, anyone in any division just to be better on this show. Okay?
Yeah, true, because they are kind of slipping and everything.
This leads us to sort of an interesting interview. We've got a split screen with Swerve and Santos Escobar.
I enjoyed this. I
thought Escobar looked cool, sitting in kind of this
just like
big
with the sunglasses, like
armchair, almost
just
throne.
like looking professional.
Yep. Swerve says that he's had opportunities at the title belt, but none of them were fair.
Which is fair to an extent.
Yep. He's the only man in WWE to pin Escobar, and he's going to come out again on top on Sunday. Escobar calls Swerve a parasite that continues to linger. He's a loose end that Escobar is going to tie up. He promises their match at TakeOver will be fair. Swerve disagrees and lists all of the cheating Escobar has done. Escobar's only hearing excuses at this point. Swerve says he'll adapt like he always does and show the world what he's capable of. Escobar talks about what he's been doing for the title, and what Swerve calls a bag of tricks, he calls 100 years of tradition, which I thought was a pretty cool line. Mm-hmm. I really like this. I feel like they're trying something new, and it kept me engaged, right?
No, I liked it too, yeah.
They haven't done this sort of, this is a serious conversation, right? And it's a split screen, and they both get their chance to say things, and it doesn't devolve into like a screaming match or them fighting. It's just two guys talking about a serious matter that they both want to win this title.
Yeah, and not to spoil it too much, it was a similar thing with the Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly thing that we'll talk about later. But this was really good.
I really like the tone of this. I feel like it's a little bit different. It feels a little bit more...
Maybe giving a little more hype to this match.
It feels a bit more realistic, and I care more about the match for sure.
Yeah.
Then we get a Kyle O'Reilly video package right after this, and he basically goes over his life with wrestling and how much he loves it and has a passion for it, and if he had to, he'd still wrestle for $5 a show. He puts over the Undisputed Era as his friends and brothers, saying that they are real, and that's what's made them so successful, is because it's not an act. They are really this close. O'Reilly keeps talking, and it's awesome, and I just want to watch it at this point. There's a training montage with a voiceover.
We do have a TakeOver tomorrow.
And it's fantastic. This is blurring the lines between the show and reality, similar to what ROH is doing right now. I feel like somebody in this company maybe watched the first couple weeks of ROH and went, like, this is serious, and all the storyline is basically that they want to win the match and that they wins and losses kind of matter. So I'm pretty happy with the way this is going. It seems like they're trying some new stuff this week. I liked it.
Yeah.
You're okay with this promo too? I thought it was awesome. I just stopped taking notes and
they're
was
making
captivated.
Kyle O'Reilly a believable singles act, which I can appreciate.
And he's really good at talking in these settings, right? Like they barely let this guy talk for years, but he's doing a really good job when it's just him.
Yeah, he's had to kind of get over as a ring comedian now. That could almost be secondary now.
Yep, now he's a bit serious, and he's Canadian, so we like that.
Yeah.
Then we get to talk about Tegan's injury. Gargano's interviewed, and they have no sympathy.
Tegan.
Johnny's funny here. He says it's karma. Basically, you smash my TV, you break your ACL, sort of thing.
Yeah. I think wouldn't it be kind of sucky for them just pretending to like
be mean about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tegan's okay with it, I'm sure. So
yeah, I know, but I feel like if I was in that situation,
you'd feel a bit bad.
Yeah, I'd feel a little bad.
Her career could be over, and you're saying you don't care.
She probably is fine with it, but
I'm sure she is.
Even then, it still just feels like
if she's that big a wrestling fan, she's okay with it.
Yeah.
So Johnny says Destiny is on its way. they praise the interviewer to her face, and then as she walks away, they talk trash about her once she leaves. I thought this segment was fine, short
That's
and
funny.
sweet. Johnny's always entertaining in any role for me.
Yeah, I like Johnny. He's good. Not as good as if.
No, of course not. But he
his
can do
baby
anything.
face, but-
He's Daniel Bryan 2.0. Doesn't matter what you give him, he makes it interesting.
Yeah, but I feel like Daniel Bryan. Whereas Johnny Gargano is good and acceptable as a heel, Daniel Bryan excelled as a heel.
He was
He was
amazing.
good at.
He was.
He was like really good at both. Johnny's like amazing at babyface and like acceptable as a heel.
And then just hot matches, killer matches all the time.
But I think part of what makes him so good is the story going into his matches, and that's part of why he's such a good babyface. Like, I remember watching like a DIY match, like the ladder match they had against AOP.
Yes.
And just his face, he's just like he looks like he doesn't even know where he's at, and just, like the in-ring storytelling was so good, and I feel like you take some of that away when he's a heel.
A little bit, right?
And like, for example, that match he had with Roderick Strong. For example, if that was a big story, perhaps for the North American title, and Johnny Gargano was a babyface, that would have been electric.
Yep.
Right? And it was just okay.
Yep.
And that's not how it should be. And I think, yes, Johnny Gargano, he's not bad at a heel. He's not at all, but he's
As the
amazing
underdog
as a
babyface who takes a beating and just is resilient, he's amazing.
He was amazing. So
but
yeah.
I think maybe people tire, right? So they can bring him back. I'm sure
Right.
it's just
I
like,
think
here's a
they
little
can.
break
Yeah.
and we'll bring it back.
But I just think, whereas Daniel Bryan was great at both, Johnny is good at both, but clearly excels at one more than the other.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a good segment, and I like them insulting the interviewer because
Yes.
I don't like her.
Then we get one of my favorites, Cameron Grimes. The first chunk of this I didn't love, but then it got interesting for me. He's not in the best mood. He's had opportunities, and they were taken away from him. He can cheer up Cameron Grimes' invitational stepping stone to the moon tournament is what he's having
Or
here.
no, it's like a gauntlet.
That's what
just to mimic the Eliminator.
That's right. So he's going to have his own gauntlet where he's inviting his own opponents handpicked by himself. And the first one is Joey Pistachio, who is weighing in at what, 80 pounds or something?
Yeah.
So Grimes rhymes off Joey's credentials as he's coming to the ring, and I didn't write them down specifically, but it was really funny. Just like this guy's ring music or whatever's
like
playing, and
80
he's
pounds.
trying to pump this guy up to make it look impressive when he beats him, like just funny heel stuff.
Right.
And then it's an immediate cave-in for 3. So then where he's back on the mic to
Then
call
we
out
had
the next
Joey
Strong. And then
he gets thrown out like Lance Archer style.
Yeah, Ridge Holland shows up, takes out Joey Strong,
Because Ridge Holland's a meanie stink.
takes off his entrance gear and comes down to the ring. So Grimes is in the ring trying to use flattery and to weasel out of a confrontation with Ridge Holland, which I thought was a good, like, slimy heel move. And then we get an impromptu match, and it's just a big throw by Holland and a whole bunch of clubbing blows and stomps to Grimes. The bell rings. I was confused. I thought it was a ref stoppage because they were saying Holland was winning, but it turns out it's a DQ.
Yeah, because
I think Grimes was under the
5
ropes.
count.
Or
Yeah,
because he was in the ropes.
He was
wasn't
also touching the ropes, I
Yes.
think.
So
Or
he
using the
basically,
ropes for leverage or something.
Holland is so aggressive, he just couldn't stop stomping him even though he was in the rope. So he gets DQ'd, and that's the end of that match. So this is obviously building a feud between these two.
Poor Grimes.
My fear is that they are going to be using Grimes to build and put over Mr. Holland, which isn't ideal. I mean, I'm not as negative on Holland as you are, but I love Cameron Grimes, and I fear that he's going to settle into this role.
I'm all for them pushing Holland and trying to make him interesting. Shouldn't be at the expense of Grimes.
I think he's unfortunately might settle into this like heel gatekeeper role. Like he beats some people, but then he gets beaten by stars on their way up, sort of thing. So I'm hoping not, because he's really entertaining and he's awesome in the ring. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then we get a theory. Austin Theory's interviewed about his struggles and his recent slide, as they keep reminding us.
Oh my God.
He should have been in the gauntlet, he feels, and he saw the O'Reilly package, and he mocks how long it took Kyle to make it, right? Because Kyle talks about whatever 15 years he's been doing this.
And then he brags about his WrestleMania thing, even though he lost and wasn't supposed to be there.
But Theory's heel logic is it took you 15 years to get here. I've been wrestling a fraction of that time, and I've already been on the main roster and in important stuff. So you can get what he's saying.
NXT is an equal brand.
That's correct.
How dare you think
It's a lateral
otherwise?
move. It's not going up and down. It's
yeah,
lateral.
for sure. How dare you think otherwise?
So O'Reilly, he says that O'Reilly should catch up to him, right? So I think this guy's like cocky heel character is pretty good, actually. I don't mind it.
He's kind of like Private Party, where he just needs a little bit of in-ring polishing.
Yeah.
And maybe some experience, and then he'll be good to go.
Yep. So what do we get next? Kushida interview?
I get lost sometimes.
So when Kushida first came, he tells us it was hard to concentrate, but now he's had time and he's focused. He's the new vicious Kushida, so he tells us this
The
himself
new
now.
Kushida is vicious.
And he will use Velveteen Dream as a stepping stone. Again, I really like this, and this is why my notes on this are so weak, because it was in subtitles and I'm not a grid typer, so I really had to watch the screen to get what was out of it. I can't watch and type at the same time, so my notes are weak, but I really liked this. Again, this is another serious, realistic promo, and the storyline is basically both guys want to win, and it's going to be an intense battle, so I liked it
I
again.
agree it was good, but I think they're doing the same thing a few too many times. But yeah, it was good for Kushida, but I'm still not a huge fan of him, and they're just really beating us over the head with the vicious Kushida thing.
So we're going to get to the match, but I liked the promo better than the match. Like, I liked what he was getting across in the promo more so than... And
Did he have a match?
He can't keep... Yeah, right after this with Tony Nese.
Oh,
he
yeah.
can't keep coming out that this new vicious whatever, wearing a puffy... wearing the puffy vest. And
like Breezango.
He needs to stop. Like, just get something new, or don't wear that top half. Just come out in what you wrestle in, because... The whole
even like a cool shirt would be nice, just like a Kushida shirt.
The whole
I'm
Back
fine
to
with
the
that.
Future thing, when you're now this new serious vicious, doesn't work for me.
Right.
So, anyways, we get Kushida
a
versus.
theme change would be in order too, because this is not strong.
I don't even know what it is, so it can't be that good. That's not a good sign if I don't remember it. Kushida versus Tony
Because
Nese
we just watched it yesterday.
is
Too.
what we get. So, jumping head kick while Nese is still flexing. A brief flurry by Nese, but Kushida's back in control quickly. Pump handle reversed into an arm lock and a leaping armbar twice. Stomps while holding wrists by Kushida, hoverboard lock, and a tap by Nese in this really quick match. Dream shows up on the screen, and he tells us it doesn't matter which Kushida shows up Sunday, the new aggressive one or the old not-so-aggressive one. And I like the way he phrased this. The lights will be too bright for Kushida regardless, while Dream always shines in the spotlight.
Nice.
I thought the match, wasn't great. They're trying really hard for this vicious Kushida thing. And I just thought, as I already said, the package did more to help me believe that than this match did, to be honest. A decent, quick promo by Dream.
I find a similar thing with Finn Balor, honestly, because I feel like some of his promo vignettes helped me to believe he was a heel. And then, like,
you watch
just
him and you're
in
like, huh?
matches, and,
Yep.
like, there's just, like, not much. Like, the only variation I can really find in his moveset that makes him more heel is maybe more stomps, and like he's just really charging on the drop kicks and
Right.
stuff, and his entrance is like slightly different. So yeah, it's a similar thing where it's like it's just more evident when they really try to get it across.
Yes, it helps that he's actually speaking instead of the announcers just telling us. The character himself can tell us and show us, right? So I thought the Dream promo was good, but I still don't know how I feel about him being on the show. We've talked about it before. Anyways, I'll just
Yeah,
sort of talk
I'm not
about.
quite sure yet.
I'll talk about what he's actually doing, not so much how
Just
I
try
feel
to
about him outside of the ring.
distance from that.
So yeah, I thought this was reasonable, but again, I'm not buying into the Kushida stuff yet. I'm hoping he has a blowaway match at this, and we'll see.
Yep.
So Grimes is mad backstage and runs into Dexter Lumis, who simply just stares at him.
I don't like him.
Grimes calls him freaky and just walks on by, basically.
I don't like Dexter Lumis.
I'm open to Dexter Lumis. I think his character has some potential, and anytime they want to put Grimes on the screen, I'm happy. So
I
was
don't
okay with
really
it.
like him. There could be potential, but I still don't like him.
You're just anti-NXT man today.
No, I just really don't like him, and specifically.
All right. We move to Adam Cole, so you'll be happier now. It's your boy.
Yay!
And he has a mic in the ring. Undisputed Era have dominated for 3 years. The prophecy came true. Then it ended, and they lost, and people thought they had changed. He says nothing has
that's
changed.
Not nice.
They are the same dominant Undisputed Era. He calls out Austin Theory. Theory comes halfway down, and Cole speaks some more and threatens Theory. He gives him the option to either come to the ring and face Cole, or to stay there, and implies he'll get jumped by the rest of Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Theory comes to the ring, and we have an impromptu match here that just kind of came out of nowhere. So he starts with chops and forearms and stomps by Cole, a pump kick by Cole, then a nice neck breaker. Ring escape by Theory at this point, a pump kick on the floor by Cole, steps for Theory, and Cole throws him back in. So Cole is just dominating this first chunk of this match. A really nice Rude Awakening, one of my all-time favorite
So that's what the neck
mid-card
breaker
heels.
is, where they drop him on the shoulder?
It's like a neck
Okay,
breaker, but
so-
it's a more slow. You roll him up, and when you drop down, you sort of
Okay, I've seen
stay
it in
sitting
the...
up more.
No, I've seen it in the games, yeah. So, like, you drop them on your shoulder
Yes.
rather than... Okay.
And Rick Rude did it amazing, and he's one of my favorites, so I like this callback.
Interesting for a finisher.
I
though.
note that Theory has done nothing so far, right? It's just been Cole dominating. Suplex by Cole. Theory says he can
Because Cole
do...
is great.
I thought there was a cool moment because Theory's just getting killed, and you can hear him say to Cole, I can do this all day. Like saying like, yes, you're beating on me, but it doesn't really matter. So I thought that was cool. And then Cole...
I like that. I don't remember that, but now that you mentioned that, just kind of helps the all day moniker for me, really.
I liked it too.
Just before I was just struggling to kind of grasp that concept, just because like you could see what it means, but like he's not really like,
I think generally it's
doing much. So
I think generally it's referring to his fitness level, right? That he can go all day.
Yeah,
but I think this was a nice way to use it differently. Like
they're really showing it.
I can take your punishment all day too. And then Cole at some point shortly after this tells him like, you got the wrong guy, sort of thing. Like if you which I liked as well. We get a drop kick by Cole, chokehold by Cole, power out by Theory, but he runs into a back elbow. And at this point, I'm wondering, like, is Theory going to get any offense at all in this match? Theory finally does get some offense, leading to a drop kick, stomps in the corner by Theory after a commercial break, leaping stomp to Cole's chest, backbreaker by Theory, standing moonsault. That always looks good. He's a big guy to be doing that. Boot. Cole gets his boot up and then 2 back elbows and a pump kick to Theory. Jumping kick and a backstabber by Cole. Another pump kick, Ushigoroshi, that looked really good for 2. Panama Sunrise escaped and a kick and a blue thunder bomb by Theory that looked pretty good. Forearm exchange on their knees and then up to standing. Continues the forearm exchange. Theory runs the rope really fast, but eats a huge super kick that looked really good. Mm-hmm. And then another...
He just, like, charged into it.
Theory then is, like, rolling through to try something, and as he comes up from that, he takes another super kick. Then we get another Ushigoroshi, immediately followed by the last shot for the win. Yeah. So I'll let you, since Cole's your guy, what did you think of this?
It was good. I enjoyed when Cole was winning.
I thought this was...
beating him and super kicking him.
I thought this was really good. Cole looks really strong as he dominated for long stretches. Theory looks good because he now looks like a guy who can take a beating and still pull out some cool offense on his own.
And, like, almost get the win.
And it's not quite that he can hang with Cole because Cole's a superstar, but that he's not... It's not just a squash, right? Like, sure, you're going to beat me up along the way, but I can take it. I'll get in some offense. You know what I mean? I thought this was a really... well put together match.
I'm not as into Cole as a face, but he's still my favorite. So. And
this is Adam Cole helping out a young guy, and I thought it was a really good match.
I refuse to not be my favorite.
So then we get Io and Priest as a tag team are being asked about going up against the NXT Power couple of Gargano and LeRae. Priest says it's a preview of TakeOver tonight, and they'll take care of business. Io speaks Japanese, and at the end she just says that Priest isn't bad. I don't like them together because Io to me should be like super serious and Priest is not. He's like the laid back,
which is a good gimmick, but I see what you mean though.
I didn't love them together.
The gimmicks are very polar opposite.
Yes, which sometimes works, but I didn't think it was here. Although it's a cool visual of how huge he is compared to she's very tiny. It looks cool.
Yeah, true.
Then we get Caden Carter with Katie Catanzaro versus Xia Li.
Did you say Katie Catanzaro?
Sorry, Casey Catanzaro.
They call her Catanzaro.
I know, I was focusing on saying that right, so I think that's why I butchered her first name, because I know you're going to jump on me if I say Catanzaro.
Yeah, it just sounds stupid.
So escapes and reversals to start. There's my nice summary again, right? Springboard dropkick for 2 by Carter. Xia Li pulls Carter into the apron, spins her, and hits her with a forearm. I'm not explaining that well, but it looked pretty cool. And then pulls her onto the floor, and she landed hard on the floor there. That looked good. Lee waits in the ring and stomps Carter when she rolls in. A nice sort of heel move here, sort of a foreshadow of this, what's going to happen here at the end.
When you say Lee, I think of Keith Lee.
I think of Trevor Lee.
Oh.
A bunch of knees and a spinning kick by Xia Li for 2. At one point, she does like the jumping double knees. Carter gets some offense and has a near fall. That's my summary of her offense. Sunset flip reversal, and Carter somehow pins Xia Li here. So I guess it was fine, and it was just a match to gain experience, and I think it was really just getting us to this heel turn at the end by Xia Li, because
Sorta, we're getting there. New aggressive Xia Li.
Right, so she then refuses to shake hands and kind of attacks both of them, I think it was, and there we go.
Confusing.
Yes. So I feel like Caden and Casey are sort of, I put here, like the new Aaliyah, that they're always around and get a lot of TV time but never win anything. Kind of felt like that. Yeah. You like that? All right. True. So then we get Shawn Michaels, and this is a pre-taped interview segment with O'Reilly and Balor in a ring, but it's not happening live in front of us. It's clearly been pre-produced. So Balor congratulates and respects Kyle, and you get some mutual respect from Kyle to start. Sean thinks Kyle is the best kept secret. Finn disagrees because he said he knows how good Kyle is and that Kyle's been all over the world wrestling everywhere. Kyle loves Finn. And this is where it sort of turns and they start insulting each other a little bit. He says that basically Finn is brave, a really brave guy to defend his title when he knows he's going to lose.
Just like respectfully.
Yes, like I'm super confident. I'm not being super rude about it.
Respecting him, but then burning him real good.
Yes. Finn wants to know if Kyle will be coming alone, and Kyle says yes, but he also sort of implies that the rest of Undisputed Era won't be far away. They share verbal jabs, and they're both really cocky and confident, and I really liked it. And that Kyle says this is the biggest moment of Kyle's life, and that Kyle does not think he is the underdog, and that Balor's never wrestled anyone like him. They said somewhere in there that they've never faced each other before, and that hopefully that's true.
Liked
and
when
I'm even
Kyle
more
was
excited.
like, when he came to America, Balor was in Japan. Then when he went to Japan, Balor was in NXT.
Right.
And then when he went to NXT, Balor went to Raw. And despite this, like, having little to no build, because obviously I don't think they planned for O'Reilly to be a contender because they never planned for Balor to be a champion, obviously, after Cross got injured. But they make it seem like it's just got this perfect fit, which I really appreciate as this being a build with very little planning, I would assume. Not that it's their fault this time.
No, it's
not. Just, like, it felt like it's kind of put together.
Yeah, I really liked this. I thought maybe it was, the only criticism was it was a touch long. But it was really good.
A little bit, yeah.
And again, it's this more shift into reality-based stories in this show. It making me look forward to this match more. The fact that main roster doesn't care about wins and losses, right? It's even Steven. At the end of the day, you're all going to have the same number of wins and losses. So let's have a show where the story is that people actually want to win because wins matter and championships matter. And that feels like the tone of this show. And if that's an actual conscious shift they're making, I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, that's a good point because there is a lot of 50-50 booking.
Right? So this is the one where the characters really care about winning, and they actually, that's all that matters. There's no soap opera love stories and weddings and stuff. It's, I want to win because winning's important. I want that belt because that belt is important. Okay? Simple. Right. I like it. Anyways, on to our main event, which is a mixed tag of Gargano and Candice LeRae against Damian Priest and Io Shirai. So I have this as a main roster type main event where they sort of mix and match people that are having matches against each other, but it still could be really good. I feel
like this one's a little more interesting than when they always do it in the main roster because at least there's like, you have Gargano and LeRae who are married.
They are a package deal at least. They are presented as a team, yes.
So there's that. It'd be like impacting when like they had Johnny Impact and Taya Valkyrie.
Yes.
So something like that. Just like at least it makes a little more sense than when they always do it every other time.
But it's still like, hey, before you get into a singles match, let's put you in a tag match, right?
Because that's definitely what you're preparing for is a tag match.
So I'm new to sort of appreciating Damian Priest. So at this point, I like all four of these competitors. So I'm hoping that it's something good.
They cut off his entrance, so the Garganos enter together, and Damian Priest starts his entrance, and he only gets a bit before then Io Shirai interrupts his entrance to do her entrance. Just get your individual entrances in. They're both good, so let me see both.
They probably didn't have enough time. There you go.
They did.
Okay. So Priest and Io look cool together. I don't like them in their personalities necessarily together, but they look cool together. Just the difference in size and stuff.
Io's lighting is cool.
So we get some brawling to start, and the heels escape outside. The men start out, and Gargano uses his speed, but eventually takes a big boot and a bunch of punches in the corner.
Punches.
We get a sidewalk slam, and Gargano tags out. So now the women are in, and LeRae gains control at first with a knee, flapjack and a basement drop kick by Io. Gargano's in to distract, and Priest takes him out quickly. Io gets up on Priest's shoulders, and she jumps on to Johnny and Candice on the outside of the ring. We come back from a commercial with LeRae breaking a submission to club and stomp Io. Like she has Io in a submission, and she chooses to break it to deliver some blows to Io. We get the Io palm strike and a German to LeRae, which always looks really cool. So now the men are back in, and Priest is dominating. A leaping back elbow, and we get a name for it.
The what?
The Broken Arrow.
Oh, right.
Cool name. For two, right? It's that tossing Falcon Arrow. This is the first week I think they've applied a name to it. Cool looking move. Gargano escapes what looks like was going to be a razor's edge and does sort of like an armbar DDT to Priest, if that makes sense. Kicks from both, and Priest tags out. The women are back in, and Io ends up with a crossface on LeRae. Gargano interferes, and Priest comes over. He gets taken out by a kick by Gargano, but Io palm strikes Gargano off of the apron. So Io had a few times where she was attacking Gargano in this match, right?
Yeah, so much for men fight the men and whatever, women fight the women. Not really. It's like the men can't touch the women, but then like you see the women doing like a bunch of these where they hit like one or two moves, like like Ronda Rousey did that to Triple H in the WrestleMania 34. So it's like it's like works one way.
They can take offense. They're not allowed to give it. The men.
Yeah.
Which Io
is, like, I understand they don't like the intergender, but it's like also like just don't do it at all. Then
I guess all or nothing. You're saying, right?
Right. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Io gets planted face first, takes a senton to her back, and then LeRae misses a moonsault. We get a double underhook backbreaker by Io that I thought looked pretty cool. A moonsault attempt is stopped by Gargano. Priest comes in, hits Johnny with the head clap thing, sort of where you clap your hands and I guess you're clubbing his ears on either side of his head.
Yeah.
And Io hits a moonsault to Gargano. She tags Priest. Candice low blow to Priest before we get a reckoning, but the ref is distracted. And then we get a final beat to Priest for 3 while the women are outside the ring, so no one could come in for the save. Overall, what did you think of that match?
I thought it was good. Again, better than most times they do this concept.
I agree. It was pretty fun.
But I think unnecessary at the end of the day. Like, it wasn't bad, but like at the end of the day, I don't think it was needed.
Right.
Like, they could have just done something
It's
else.
the go-home, right? They're trying to build interest for these matches on the coming pay-per-view this weekend, I guess. But the match was good. I liked it, but is it a main event of an NXT? Maybe not, in my opinion. So overall thoughts and ratings?
The show was probably I would say C+ for me, just because it was worse than AEW, and AEW was just okay this week. I agree with what you said that it wasn't really a main event kind of match, but what else was there for a main event?
But, I mean, there's lots of people they could put in.
True. But like, what's
Bronson Reed doing? You know, what are all these other people that were recently getting lots of attention doing?
And I think that's probably their own fault too.
So overall, I like this show. I especially like the video packages this week. I feel I've said it a lot. There's this shift in tone to more realistic feel with people wanting to win.
Yes.
It really feels like someone watched ROH and was like, man, this is kind of cool. We could do this too. Felt like they're trying new things, and I think it's a good idea since you've heard us say that this show's been in a bit of a lull lately. As someone who's watched NXT since literally the first time it's ever been on, it's not the same as it used to be at its peak, so maybe this is another shift that they've recognized they need to do something. I like the opener a lot with Shotzi in it, surprisingly. I love the Swerve Escobar package. I love the O'Reilly Balor segment. The Cole Theory match was good. The O'Reilly just himself package early on I thought was amazing. So most weeks it's a no-brainer for me. This week it's close. I think this was a B+ show and maybe even a tiny bit better than AEW for me. Might be my first week. You've had one week where you said that. This might be my first week where if I really sat and broke it down segment by segment, I might have liked NXT better.
Interesting.
It's close.
Interesting.
Right? So that wraps up our NXT review. Now we will transition into what we consider any other wrestling business, where I will not so in-depth go over a couple shows and Jack will talk about a couple things that interest him. You want to go first?
We got an updated Impact Victory Road card.
Oh, yeah.
Which is tonight, and I will not watch it. I will not probably talk about it at all, but here we go. So we got the world title match, which is Eric Young versus your favorite Eddie Edwards. Knockouts title, Deonna Purrazzo versus Susie.
Yes.
Interesting.
I'll talk about that a bit.
Raju open challenge for the X Division title.
Yes.
Tenille Dashwood versus Jordan Grace.
Which will be the third time, but I'm okay with it.
Brian Myers versus Tommy Dreamer, which I feel like if it's Tommy Dreamer, it should be at least a hardcore match.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Unsanctioned match between Reno Scum and Rhino and...
We should have done this after I did TNA, because this is all stuff that's coming up. But anyways, carry on.
And I think there's also some weird four-way thing with Ace Austin, Carl Anderson, Alexander, and
so
Shelley.
one of each tag team,
I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Cool.
It's just not on this article because I think it was after that. But yeah, so I got that tonight, and I probably won't watch it.
I might check it out later. I don't imagine I'll be watching it tonight. I may watch a bit of it since I try to get through TNA every week, but we'll see how much time I have. So I'll talk about Ring of Honor briefly, if that's okay. I'll go quickly through it.
Sure, go for it.
So overall, another good episode. You guys, if you listen to the show, you know I've loved the first 2 episodes since they've come back and sort of just focused on this pure wrestling tournament. This was another good episode following the exact same formula as the previous. So you start out with post-match interviews from the previous week's matches, and then we're going to get 2 pure tournament matches with video packages for each of the competitors before each match. And if you haven't listened to this before, the strong things have really been the packages they've been doing to promote all these wrestlers, and the matches have been just very engaging and interesting for me, every single one of them. So our first match this week is Fred Yehai versus Silas Young. So you basically have this story of a guy making his ROH debut in Yehai, who's a very strong indie competitor, versus ROH veteran who's been there over a decade. I would think probably like 15 years maybe, this guy. So long story short, really good match. Yehai looked really good. Your brother was actually watching this with me, and he really thought Fred Yehai was good. His grappling is very strong. He has a strong wrestling, like amateur wrestling background. So we get a leg sweep inside cradle, and the savage weight, which is Yehai, advances. And the only note I have is good match and another non-finisher finish. Because again, this is a serious tournament, so you take the win any way you can. You don't always have time to set up for your finisher. The second match of the night is Josh Woods versus Kenny King. So Kenny King for me is the first disappointing thing in this tournament. I've loved everything until Kenny King came in. He's still just in character, the same as he would be on a regular ROH show, and all he does is talk about his faction, the Ingobernables. It takes me out of this overall feeling.
Isn't that the Ruch's faction?
Yes. So he's in that. So this sort of takes me out of this whole time. It's just been, this is a real tournament and this is how we're treating it, and this really didn't feel like it. Even in the match, he was still doing some things, like he's doing some taunts and some poses and stuff that just don't fit in with what's the rest. And it just, to me, I don't like it. Some people might, because maybe it's too serious for them. But this sort of took me out of it a little bit. It was a decent match. King, it went the time limit, and Woods won in a split decision, so I guess I won't have to deal with King anymore in the tournament. Woods looked okay. I was hoping for better. I really haven't seen too much of him, because he, I think, was in New Japan when I wasn't watching it very much. So he has a very cool look to him. I wasn't blown away by this match. I thought he was okay. So overall, I still enjoyed the show, but King was the most disappointing part of this tournament for me. But I still enjoyed it overall. Look forward to next week, so I'm giving it a B. And then I have that's strange, because this might have been the worst of the quote-unquote worst, because they were all pretty good, of NXT, AEW, and Ring of Honor this week. It's probably my least favorite of the 3, and that might be the first week that's happened. Do you have anything else before I do Impact?
You can do Impact. I do have one more thing, but I'll save it for last.
All right, so Impact Wrestling. It starts out with Taya and Rosemary versus Havoc and Nevaeh. So a women's tag team match that I actually thought was pretty good and a very solid opener.
Who is Nevaeh?
Remember, it's Heaven spelled backwards?
No, I know, but
I know nothing about her, and I said, but she looked good again. So that's twice that I've seen her now and thought, wow, she looks pretty good. Taya ended up winning it with her Road to Valhalla finisher. And the only notes I had is that Rosemary's entrance looks really cool. It's definitely an homage or a ripoff or whatever you want to say it of the Demon entrance. I had Demon Light entrance, but it's still really cool. And Taya's great in general. So it was a pretty good opener. Then we move into another, I guess, Knockouts match. I keep saying women's match. They have a brand. It's Knockouts, right? So Jordan Grace versus Tenille Dashwood. And I'm going to be honest with you. If this were main roster WWE and they did the same match 2 weeks in a row, I'd complain. But because I'm just kind of recently returning to watching Impact after a pretty long layoff, I don't mind seeing these two having a rematch, because it still feels fresh to me, and they had a good match the first time. So I seem a bit hypocritical, because I would complain main roster, but I'm not complaining now. But it's the difference in freshness, right? I haven't seen them wrestle a million times. I like this match as well. It saw Grace win by countering a roll-up into a rear naked choke for the win.
Nice.
I know I say it every week. I'm a big fan of Jordan Grace in the ring, and I think she's also improving in promos and character too. So I think she's going to be a factor in any company she's in, to be honest. We then get a Rich Swann rehab package. He's trying really hard to be serious and sincere, and it's still not working for me, so I don't really have much to say. It was just that classic, like, it's a voiceover of him working really hard to come back from a serious injury, but I just find him not very believable doing this.
Nice.
Then we get Rhino and Heath. They're hanging out behind the arena with the money they stole from Hernandez, and they get attacked by Reno Scum, who take the money back and give it to Hernandez. So Rhino is mad and wants a match, and he finds Scott D'Amore, and Scott D'Amore says he doesn't have time to do paperwork or anything else, but you can have your unsanctioned match with Heath as your partner. So that's why we're getting this for the pay-per-view.
Yep.
I just don't care about this. I think I mentioned last week I have a list of Impact wrestlers that wouldn't be on my roster if I were running it. You can add Hernandez to that list of aging wrestlers that wouldn't be on my Impact. And there's another one making his return at the end of this. So you can put Dreamer on that list. You can put Hernandez on that list. You could probably put Rhino on that list, although he bothers me. Oh, you'll see. We'll get there. So
I don't know if I know already or not.
Then we get the Good Brothers versus the Rascals. This is a decent match with some cool offense by the Rascals, but here's my comparison. Sorry, Rascals, this isn't very nice because obviously you guys listen to this podcast. They're one of the 30 that listens to this podcast. But anyways, so here's my comparison for you, Jack. It's like watching the Lucha Brothers move around, but then their moves don't really have any impact when they make contact, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
No pun intended with the impact either. But it's like they move really fast, they move really fluid, but then it's like that doesn't look like it would hurt that much.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it was a decent match, but here's what really bugs me about the Good Brothers and the characters they're playing right now. This is the closest thing you'll get to a rant out of me this week. So this type of character gets nobody over but themselves. Okay? So think about the Good Brothers. So what the character they're playing, they're the guys that are so cool that they don't even have to try and they'll dominate, right? So they just hang around, tell funny stories backstage, drink beer, and win every match, basically.
Outsiders.
So the only way you can even gain advantage on them is to play the numbers game and outnumber them, but you're still going to end up losing anyways. So they're not... This character doesn't get anyone over but them, right? It's not helping anyone but them. Everyone they touch looks weak, and I don't like it, and I don't enjoy Gallows in general. Right now, he's got this Nash vibe in this presentation. It's just this lazy cool, right? And we're so lazy cool, and we'll still just beat you, and there's nothing you can do.
I know you said this. They calls him the Big LG.
Every time.
Even though he's Doc.
He's still just Big LG. It did it this week, too.
Yeah, I know.
So it's this whole idea of, like, who are you helping right now, veterans? There's all these young guys on the roster that are super talented, like the Rascals, and you're just making everyone look weak because you guys don't even try and you just win. So anyways, it bugs me. Falaba defeated Johnny Swinger in a comedy match to be Johnny Bravo's best man. Swinger won by cheating. There's a monkey shot, the monkey that Crazy Steve carries. He got tossed in the ring and he knocked him out. Bravo bullies the ref into restarting the match, and Falaba wins immediately by squashing Swinger in the corner. I can't possibly care about this, so I have no notes, but there is one funny part I enjoyed. So Josh Matthews, basically most of the people from Wrestle House are surrounding the ring for this. So you've got like the Deaners and Alicia and whoever else is all there, right? So at one point, Josh Matthews is trying to go through all these people and help connect how they're related to the storyline for the audience. And honestly, it's like he doesn't know and he gives up at one point and he just gives this generic like, well, they're all involved somehow, right? So he's trying to say like, well, the Deaners do this and this is why they're all involved because why are all these people out at ringside? And he just can't do it. So he gives up. He like pulls shoot on trying to explain how they're all connected because it doesn't really matter, let's be honest. Then we get my man Rohit. He talks about his win last week, right? So he had that sneaky pin attempt, or sneaky pin, wasn't an attempt, it was successful, immediately after the triple threat. So he says he's now the hardest worker and the smartest worker. So since Rohit is all about opportunities, he's going to hold a Defeat Rohit challenge at Victory Rose, which I love the name already. You know, I'm loving his gimmicks the last few weeks.
Rohit.
So good old TJP shows up and actually made me physically cringe during his time speaking. So if you want to go back and look this up, Jack, it's pretty gross. He's really bad at everything outside the ring, like awesome in the ring, but everything else is bad. So he basically says since Rohit is all about opportunities, TJP wants another shot. So this is where Rohit's clever. So Rohit says, yeah, he's about opportunities for all people. And TJP, Chris Bay, and Trey have all had their opportunities. So he's going to have somebody else. They're not qualifying for the Beat Rohit challenge. So I love this. Rohit is clever, sneaky heel, right? He's finding ways to keep his belt while not doing anything. He basically has had to wrestle for 2 seconds in the last 3 weeks to keep his belt. And he's avoiding his toughest competitors, right? Like heel logic-wise, he just found a way to not wrestle any of the top 3 competitors and get somebody else in there. So I thought this was really cool. He does all of this doing a really good job of speaking his justifiable heel logic, I think. I look forward to his segments each week. I might be his biggest fan, I feel like, because I don't know if anyone else feels this way. At
least not that strongly.
I just hope they keep the belt on him for a long time and keep finding these clever ways for him to, like, hold the belt for a long time without really doing anything. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Not like Imperium where like they're just invisible.
Right. No, he's there every week, but he's coming up with these clever ways to avoid the people who are most likely to beat him, is basically what, all the while saying, yep, I'm giving everyone opportunities. Just can't be you guys that might actually beat me because you just had an opportunity in the triple threat.
That was unfair.
That wasn't even with me in it, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool. Then we get a meaningless interactions between Bravo and Swinger backstage. At least Swinger's a little bit funny in his character. Falabal's there too, and the referee from the previous match. Nothing you need to know. Eddie Edwards is in the ring talking. The lights go out and Sami Callihan appears sitting on a chair on the ramp with his phone in his hand. Talk, talk, talk. Callihan says he'll show Eddie who attacked him, and the big reveal, Ken Shamrock appears behind Eddie Edwards and attacks him. Ugh, another feud I don't care about.
Wait, then why is
And
Eddie Edwards facing Eric Young?
Who knows? This is what's they're lining up next, I guess. Shamrock is back, or maybe he's going to insert himself in the match somehow. We'll see.
Huh?
I mean, Ken Shamrock is in crazy shape, but I really don't need to see him at all. And I don't have much interest in Eddie Edwards anyways. I mean, he's inoffensive. He's like,
he's there.
Plain white toast to me, I guess. Like, it's there, but it's not delicious, but it doesn't offend me either. And then I have zero interest in Ken Shamrock.
Nice comparison.
Thanks. English major. Young has another intense, really good promo with the belt on his shoulder. This is one of the highlights of the show. He does a good job here. It's just too bad he doesn't have somebody to really work off of at this point, I don't feel like.
Eddie Edwards.
Almost done, buddy. Kylie Ray is fine with Susie having a title shot, which I don't know I forget how she got it actually, and would love to wrestle her best friend for the title if Susie wins tonight. So I'm confused because Ray is the number one contender, but Susie gets a title shot first. I watch the show every week, and I'm still a bit confused.
Okay, go for it.
She is. Kylie gives Susie new kick pads as a gift. Kylie leaves, and then we see another flash of Su Yung sort of to end the segment, right? So there's this increasing sort of...
Why she go like...
It just sort of flashes, and she gives a look. I think she does a really good job of the Susie character, because she's kind of like doing it like she's just this empty vessel. She's just vacant, and she's just sort of talking. Some people might say she's a bad actor, but I think it's kind of on purpose. Like, this isn't her, right? This is just her going through the motions of being a normal person. Whereas the real her, I think, is Su Yung, and I think that's what we're going to get to. So I'm interested in
kind of like real Bray Wyatt is the Fiend.
Right. Yeah.
I also heard this rumor that Alexa Bliss is going to take the Fiend gimmick from Bray, and that would make me so sad.
That would be interesting.
No.
We roll into our main event, which is the North versus Ace Austin and Madman Fulton.
Ooh, that sounds good.
This actually was a really good match. The North... I don't want to say they made Fulton look good, so the wording I would use is they gave him...
Made him look better.
They give him chances to look good, because if you say they made him look good, it's like he had played no part in it, right? They gave him opportunities to look good, and he took those opportunities, I thought. And then you had Ace Austin coming in, and he did the same for the North, so they sort of... looked good wailing on Ace Austin, right? And then Austin got his time to get a few things in. There's lots of cool double team moves by the North. The North win with a fireman's carry into a spine buster, and they are awesome. And the combination of this brash, trash-talking, arrogant jerk that Ethan Page is, and who is now ripped. He's got his Corona body on, and he is, like, jacked now. And this, I just love that you've got this guy that never shuts up and just spews trash talk, and then you've got
kind of like Kevin Owens in a match.
And then he's got his big silent partner killer with him, right? Like Josh Alexander is just an absolute wrestling machine. He's called the walking weapon. So it's kind of like this guy can run his mouth all he wants, and he's pretty tough himself, but he also brings this walking weapon guy with him, right?
Right.
So I don't understand if it's by choice or how they're not in AEW or WWE making big money. Maybe it's their choice, but they are fantastic.
Maybe they're smart and know it's good for them.
Well, I mean, they might be making decent money, and then there's money, and then they're still allowed to, I think, work indies and stuff, right? So maybe it works for them. Overall, this show, I enjoyed the women's matches to begin. The first almost hour of the show was just women's stuff, and I thought it was really good, and it made me wonder, like, what if some show just decided to go 1 hour for the women and 1 hour for the men? And I feel like Impact could do that if they wanted to. I don't think they will, but I would be interested in it. So overall, the women's matches were good. The main event was really good, but the Row Heat segment was the only thing in the middle I really enjoyed. I want to give it a B, but I got to be honest with you, and I think it's a B-. It wasn't a bad show. So everything this week was in the B range for me. So watchable, but not like... I wouldn't urge anyone to race out and watch too many things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anything else for you?
So I just want to talk about SmackDown real quick.
Yep.
So
I watched a tiny bit of it, not much.
So we've had a mystery woman on SmackDown, and there's been speculation of who it is. Who could it be? It was Carmella.
Amazing.
Wow.
What a reveal.
Yeah, she said
Remember how I talk about I like fresh things and fresh characters and fresh matchups? That ain't it.
she became, like, I don't know, like, a babyface, and she was, like, having fun, but got her nowhere. So now she's being serious. Now she's untouchable.
Right.
Unless she doesn't want to be. And then, so we got Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso Universal Championship rematch set for Hell in a Cell 2020 inside said steel structure, I believe.
The bright red one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alexa Bliss summons the Fiend during the interview with Kevin Owens on the KO show, even though Kevin Owens is a Raw superstar, and then that makes no sense.
Well, we're coming up to the draft, so nothing will
she's
matter.
like, Alexa Bliss is like, so I think she was saying something, and then like Kevin Owens asked a question, and then she's like saying something, and she's like, let me in, and then boom, lights go out, and then the Fiend's like, alright, I'm gonna stick my hand in your mouth, and then he does the mandible claw.
Nice.
He didn't actually say that, but
I didn't see any of that. I didn't get that far. I only saw the first, like,
And then
15,
Sami
20.
Zayn throws Jeff Hardy's Intercontinental Championship in the trash and retains his title over Jeff.
Sami Zayn might make me want to watch some main roster.
Yeah.
He's that interesting. Just off that ladder match, he was so interesting to me. And he's Canadian.
Yep. Bayley versus Sasha for the SmackDown Women's Championship next week. And based on that rumor we had about the main event for Hell in a Cell, there's got to be at least a screwy finish for this retention for Bayley that will provide the Hell in a Cell stipulation. Like I said, this feud really is one of the ones that will warrant the stipulation.
Yeah, I think so too.
We got also next week on SmackDown, Fiend versus Kevin Owens, which I don't like because, one, Fiend should not be competing on TV because Demon Balor didn't do that.
Special attraction.
Yes, he is a special attraction.
He's Andre the Giant.
Yeah, or Brock Lesnar or
Right.
Demon Balor. Kevin Owens is on Raw as well, so this makes no sense, and he's also was feuding with Aleister Black.
Another Canadian boy we love.
Aleister Black?
No, Kevin Owens.
Bray Wyatt's going to be on the KO show on Raw, so then Bray Wyatt's now going to Raw. Funhouse Bray, which, again, makes no sense. So try to figure that out.
See, even when I hear you say it, I'm so out on the main roster. I don't know who's on what roster, to be perfectly honest with you.
And then Big E versus Sheamus falls count anywhere next week on SmackDown.
Big E versus Sheamus. It could be okay.
Yeah. Because Big E's a singles person, sort of.
So one thing I think we forgot to mention in the news that I did want to talk about, I guess it could fit in any other wrestling business, is that whole Vince is taking over people's Twitch accounts and stuff over the next 4 weeks, which I find, so basically they can still make money from it, but if they do, it's going to come out of their downside guarantee. So that would mean they're basically doing it for nothing. Vince is going to take a percentage of it, and then the other percent it'll just take away from money they were going to earn already to make it exact same. So I think this is, on the surface, until I see other details come out, this is really, really bad. And this is like, I told you, Andrew Yang, who was a presidential possibility, he's a big wrestling fan, and he's starting to really try to draw some attention to the labor practices of WWE. So it's basically like, you're an independent contractor, so that I don't have to pay insurance or whatever for you, but you can't go out and get your own jobs and do your own thing without me taking money from it as well. Like, it just, on the surface, this seems awful. I hope maybe at some point, because none of the wrestlers can say anything about it, right? Because it's basically like, if they do, they're going to be de-pushed, they're going to be buried, they're going to be fired, etc. So nobody actually working there can say anything, which is super frustrating. Somebody's got to break the silence. And if this is really as bad as it looks to me on the surface, I'm hoping it'll maybe bring about some change in the way WWE treats its employees, because it's really not fair. Anyways, that's my thoughts on that. Do you have anything else for any other wrestling business?
We got a preview of NXT TakeOver 31. We'll do some predictions real quick.
Let's talk about it.
So, first we got probably the most intriguing match going in is going to be and
I'm going to write these down so we can revisit it next week.
NXT Championship.
Yeah.
Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly.
So, who are you taking?
Finn Balor. I think it's obvious. But I think, not to say that I don't think Kyle O'Reilly will get a good showing.
I also say Balor, even though I did hear I forget who I was listening to. I apologize. I'm not trying to not give people credit. I just listened to a bunch of stuff and I'm old and I don't remember. But they were suggesting that O'Reilly's going to win because Balor's getting drafted. But then it was pointed out that NXT is not included in this draft. So I don't know. I'm going to take Balor.
Nice.
What's next?
All right. We got the NXT Women's Championship, which is Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae.
What do you think? This one's a little bit tough. I want Io. We'll do this again. I want Io to win.
I kind of think.
Who you taking?
I would just go with Io. 'Cause I don't know if I think LeRae will win it, because then I don't think Gargano's going to win either.
I'll take Candice. I don't feel super strongly about it, but I'm hoping not, because I want Io to just run with this belt, but we'll see. I'll take Candice just for the sake of difference. Who's next?
Yep. The NXT North American Championship, which is Damian Priest versus John Gargano. I think Damian Priest, just because he just started and is coming into his own as a character.
I agree. I think they're just sort of hitting their stride with this guy and taking the belt off him, unless their goal is to elevate him to the main title status.
Which I would also be open to.
But I think that's a bit early, so I will also say Priest retains there.
Cruiserweight Championship, Escobar versus Swerve Scott. I'm going to go with Escobar.
I
think he's going to go to keep going with the reign.
I agree. I want Escobar to win, and I also think he'll win. I just think if you're just looking at who they're putting the effort behind and who's getting more attention, right, it seems like Escobar is the choice, so I'll take that.
Kushida versus Velveteen Dream.
Wow.
I'd want Velveteen to win because I don't care about Kushida, but I kind of think Kushida will win.
I will take Kushida as well. They're pushing this new aggressive whatever, and I think maybe despite them putting Dream on TV and stuff, and we're not sure how we feel about that, I don't think they're ready to start pushing him yet. I think it's sort of like, we'll have you on the program and see if there's any backlash to you being there. So I think Kushida as well. And I want Kushida to win because I just don't want Dream to win.
Well, my friend who I play Xbox with, he is not happy about Dream.
No.
Like,
that's
I don't
reasonable.
even think he likes Dream, though. And he's like really like not happy about it, but
that's fair. Who any other matches on there, or is that it?
Nope, I think that's it.
All right, so I made a note of these so we can, if we remember, we'll come back and check how well we did.
Okay.
Next week.
Sounds good.
Okay, so that's it for any other wrestling business, I believe, yes?
Yep.
Which takes us into our final segment where Jackson will talk about the world of collectible action figures for wrestling. So go ahead, it's Figuring It Out with Jack.
Yes. So we knew the lineup already, but so we got the WrestleMania 37 Elites up for pre-order. And this series will include
Can
Goldberg.
I interrupt you? Because breaking news, I'm literally getting texts from your mother sending me pictures of wrestling figures.
Yo, let me check out.
We
got live updates right here,
So
folks.
we got Velveteen Dream. This is live. Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler. I have that one.
And Randy.
Oh my God, Shayna Baszler.
Okay, carry on. God. I'll tell her that you love the Baszler.
And the Velveteen Dream.
Okay.
Oh my God, folks. We have Shayna Baszler confirmed. Let's go. We do have a Shayna Baszler coming out soon, but if this is your first time listening to this podcast, we love Shayna Baszler. Very much.
We do.
All right, back to what I was saying.
That was just weird that you're starting talking about figures, and I get a second to check my phone.
Don't walk here, folks.
And it's 4 pictures of 4 figures.
I am speaking like we have a bunch of fans, which we do not. Well, we have a bit. Whatever. So we got Goldberg in this WrestleMania series first up. This is going to be from WrestleMania 36 this year. It will come with the Blue Universal title, as some people are calling it. And it's going to obviously have the white beard, so it's going to be a very recent Goldberg, which I would actually like to get because I only have the entrance greats Goldberg, so it'd be a different Goldberg. We got Shawn Michaels, and just from what I think it's from WrestleMania 9. I believe he defended against Tatanka, of all people.
Tatanka, if you're going to get mad at me for saying Catanzaro.
Tatanka, whatever. And so then I think it's from WrestleMania 9.
Boy, was he a bad wrestler. Holy cow. But he had a look and he had energy, right? It was like Ultimate Warrior sort of.
Mid-card.
Yeah.
So then we got Chyna from WrestleMania X7. I believe she defeated Ivory. So this will be coming with the Women's Championship, the WWE Women's Championship. And we got Edge from WrestleMania 22. He'll come with the entrance coat and a baseball bat. It's in a bit of more street attire because it is from the hardcore match with Mick Foley. And so last year's WrestleMania series, we got a Build-A-Figure referee, Danny Davis. So this year's Build-A-Figure is not official, but it's actually quite an interesting one. So it's going to be Paul Ellering. And so it's going to also come with, remember Rocco? He had with the Legion of Doom, the puppet, the ventriloquist dummy.
I absolutely do not remember this.
Okay, well, it comes with that, and then he's got
Really?
two
That
head
sounds
sculpts.
like something I should remember, but anyways,
He's got
carry
two
on.
head sculpts. He's got classic Paul Ellering, and then he's got like the bald head sculpt from when he managed AOP, which I really like. So, pretty nice Build-A-Figure, sorry. And the Shawn Michaels, the Edge, and the Goldberg look pretty nice, and the China looks pretty nice too. I honestly might have to try to complete the series again
Because that would
they all
probably
look
be,
pretty nice.
me, like that would be a woman with a different body mold of a figure, probably for
Yep,
China.
and I
right?
don't have one of the new women's elites yet, because now they're doing double jointed knees and interchangeable hands for the women's.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
'Cause they
So
should.
nice series. Looks good. And so next we got the Elite 82 lineup is revealed, and it's up for pre-order. So this series is going to include Keith Lee, which is nice because I
Yep.
do want an elite of him.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We got Alexa Bliss, who's got the women's tag title, so first debut for that belt.
Nice.
Jerry Lawler, so
I've heard of
like 90s Jerry Lawler,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Finn Balor, which I'm hoping is an NXT Finn Balor. The picture they used, just like a picture of him, is with the NXT title, so maybe it's him. And then my least favorite of the series, Rob Gronkowski with the 24/7 title. Yeah.
Don't
The
need
Chase
that one.
variant is Keith Lee, and I believe the store exclusive is Davey Boy with, I think, Matilda.
Oh, nice.
They don't have it on the website, but I saw it in a video that it is. So, and they did have a computer-generated image of it.
Cool.
When they were doing a bunch of previews. So yeah, looks like a good series. I definitely want Keith Lee and Finn Balor. Honestly, I'm considering Jerry Lawler too.
Yeah.
So, just because I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, you like a variety in your figures.
Yep.
If you don't
I
have
have
any
Larry
of them.
Zbyszko, and he's less known than Jerry
True.
Lawler. We got the Basic Series Top Picks 2020 lineup revealed. It'll include Roman Reigns, John Cena, The Rock, and Braun Strowman. Nothing new here.
No.
The Roman Reigns, the picture they used is when he's wearing the show up and wreck whatever thing.
Right.
So we could get our first look at a 2020 Roman Reigns here.
Yep. Well,
I believe we're also might be getting an elite of him soon in the next few series. So I'd really like that because the back tattoo looked amazing.
it is a very cool piece of art. Yes.
So I'd really like a 2020 Roman Reigns. I think it'd be cool. Honestly, there's not too much variation in his figures, but hey,
They've made his character interesting lately, so maybe his figures will be
so
cool.
the Basic Series not too interesting because they don't tend to change these top picks lineups too much. But the WrestleMania series is perhaps the most interesting. We already knew the lineup from the Comic-Con at Home reveals, but the Paul Ellering I didn't know would be the Build-A-Figure, so interesting choice.
Yep.
But I'm not saying that's a bad one.
Yep.
And for some reason I'm really excited for that Finn Balor.
Nice.
Just I don't know, I'm interested in that.
Is it face paint? Did you say?
No, I don't
It's
think
just
so. But I
regular.
think it'll be NXT Finn Balor, which is good because if I want to use a heel Finn Balor, then it'll be like actual heel Finn Balor.
Right.
And if for some reason I think they would have said the demon on the website, but if it turns out to be a demon, then I will also be very happy because the demon figures, some of them are just phenomenal.
They look really nice.
They look amazing. Just
takes
'cause-
more work to make them, so they look cool.
Yeah. So is special. Like the last one we got was a retro NXT one, which is. I think Jack the Ripper Finn Balor from I think it was
remember that
Takeover
one.
London. I think it was. So
I believe you.
I think it's like something there that's Jack the Ripper. But yeah, so just got some new reveals and lineup revealed. I think the only figures we knew for Elite 82 were Lee and Alexa Bliss. And then, oh wait, I think I missed a figure. I might have just not written one down. I think I did miss one.
Who?
An actually interesting one, Mr. John Morrison.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Back.
Which is good. And so he and Montez Ford from Elite 81 are actually using the Ricochet body sculpt.
Oh, yeah.
Like the 8-pack, but
Yes.
I do actually want a John Morrison, so that's nice.
Cool.
But looks to be a good series. So yeah, that's all I got, but
Awesome. Sounds
Yeah.
great. Looks
Yep.
like the episode's wrapping up. We're right at our 2-hour mark, which is pretty good. We thought we might go long today, but this is about what we were last week.
yeah.
So episode 11 is in the books, buddy. We're coming up on 3
Yeah.
months of doing this, and I'm still enjoying it.
So what we already announced, we are on iTunes now.
We are on iTunes.
we's
We are on Podbean. We're on Google Podcasts. We're
YouTube.
on YouTube. Any of those, just look up
Spotify.
FNS Wrestling on Spotify as well. FNS Wrestling at Gmail if you want to shoot us an email. No one ever has, so if you want to be the first,
FNS _wrestling
that'd be cool.
_podcast on Instagram.
Yep, find us
But yeah.
anywhere.
So I didn't necessarily forget to announce the iTunes thing. I kind of wanted to save it for this just to like. I don't think it'd be fun to announce it.
And it's just cool. As somebody, I've listened to podcasts since before like people knew what they were. I would say like people are like, what are you listening to? A podcast? What's that? Like, so I'm saying like 15 years or whatever. So for me, just to see my own show the artwork you made up on
it'd be
iTunes,
like being
even
an
though
artist
literally anyone can do it, it still was really cool to see.
It's a good feeling.
Yep, absolutely. So thanks to all of our loyal listeners who are checking us out every week.
I'm sure
we really
we have,
appreciate
like,
it.
Millions.
We hope to pick up a few new ones along the way. We're enjoying doing this. We're always going to try. Just a podcast with no ads, no sponsorship.
Yeah,
it's just us talking the whole time.
If you're listening and you know other wrestling fans, please do spread the word.
Yep. We are terrible at
marketing. We would
marketing
appreciate
this.
it very, very much.
We're kind of counting on word of mouth because I don't really know how to market things. I don't have social media.
I'm just posting it a bit, and then I have sort of registered as a business account, but in order to get sponsorship on Instagram, you have to pay for it.
I don't want sponsorship yet anyways. We're just having fun doing this, buddy. So thank you all very much for giving us some time out of your week, and we will see you back here same time, same place next Saturday. So take care, everybody.
Do expect some takeover coverage because we're really hoping for it to be on Saturday so that we could cover it maybe for you. We would maybe do the podcast on Sunday, and then we would be able to at least cover takeover for you.
But
we could not. So
we'll have it on next week.
But we will be talking about takeover next week. So if you like takeover and you listen to this, then
we got something for you.
Stay tuned. Yep.
So thank you very much, everybody. See you next week. Take care.